the November 9, 2021 City of Daytona Beach Special Magistrate Proceedings. At the outset, with all those representatives for the City of Daytona Beach who are going to be testifying at this morning's proceedings, please step forward and be sworn.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, before we get started, we've got a couple cases. We've got a very lengthy schedule here. And I'm just going to tell you folks that are out there that I can very easily see us being here to the early afternoon. That having been said, we're going to take a few cases out of order, primarily for the purpose of trying to accommodate what I call you first-timers, the folks that are brought in here for the first time. So listen up. If you're here on a case in which I'm supposed to determine whether you're in compliance or non-compliance, pay attention, compliance or non-compliance. If you're here to be fined, stay put, you're not going anywhere. If you're here for a progress report, stay put, you're not going anywhere. But if you're here as what I call one of the first timers, for me to determine whether you're in compliance or not, if you are in agreement that you are not in compliance, and the cutoff for you to come into compliance will be January 5, 2022. If you are in agreement that you will bring your property into compliance by January 5, 2022, then I will go to your cases first to try to get you out of here so you're not sitting here all day long, because heaven forbid the poor soul that's number 69 on this agenda. Okay, so I'm going to go through a few cases that I have to go through first. The agenda's on the wall. If you don't know where your case number is or what your status is, feel free to quietly work your way over there to look at it if you have to. And around case number 4, I'm going to take a break for anybody who falls into that category to come up here and tell our secretary that you fall into that group and you would like to be heard. If you come up here and you start arguing you're not in compliance, I'm going to tell you to go sit down. If you come up here and tell me you need more time, then go sit down. I'm going to tell you to go sit down. So let me say it one more time. If you're here for a determination of compliance or non-compliance, if you agree that you're in non-compliance, the next question you're going to be asked is when you can come into compliance. The city's going to say next compliance date more often than not, that's January 5, 2022. If you're agreeable to coming into compliance by then I will enter an order right now, and then you can go on your way. 10-4? All right. Okay, before I proceed with this morning's agenda, do we have any announcements?
Yes, sir. Starting on page number 3, case number 5, SMG 10-21-300, 848 North Beach Street is in compliance, 11/1/21. Page number 7, case number 23, SMG 11-21-324. We were going to withdraw that one. We have a new owner. Page number 12, case number 42. SMG 10-21-284, 916 Lockhart Street, in compliance, 11/3/21. Page number 14. Case number 51.
The city's requesting a continuance for a due process issue.
Thank you. SMG 10-21-285 at
I'm sorry.
12 George W. Ingram. Continue for due process.
So what are we looking for?
We're going to,
Okay, you need an order from me?
Yeah, we just need we were requesting a continuance due to a due process issue so we can post.
Is there anyone here on that case? Is there anyone here on case number 51? Okay, well, they're looking for a continuance to apparently take care of housekeeping matters. Do you have any objection to that? No. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and order the case number 51 be continued. Do you have a date you want to continue to, or am I just continuing it indefinitely for the time being?
Yeah, continued to the January meeting.
All right, ma'am, that'll be continued to the January 11, 2022 meeting. Oh, well.
Page number 15, case number 53, SMG 09-21-258, 801 Mason Avenue, is in compliance, 11/8/21.
Okay, what number was that?
Number 53. And case number 54, SMG 09-21-259, is in compliance, or Fulton Street parcel is in compliance, 11/8/21. That's it. Unless you want me to announce the Zoom calls.
Just holler at me when we get to them, I guess.
Okay.
Okay, we are going to proceed with case number 1. And let me repeat what I said earlier, just in case anybody came in while we've done what we've done so far. If you are here for the first time, you're here for the determination of compliance or non-compliance. If you are in agreement that you're in non-compliance, if you're in agreement that you can come into compliance by January 5, 22, then I will hear your case at the top of the agenda rather than later, so you folks can get out of here. That having been said, case number 1. Oh, I'm sorry, case number 50. Cedar Families LLC. Okay, anyone who will be testifying needs to be sworn, and if you're an attorney, just give our secretary your name.
Adam Haba.
Thank you.
Yep.
What's your name?
Are you ready?
Henry? Angelita. Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm, your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine. So let's hear from our inspector first.
Mike Fitzgerald, City of Daytona Beach Code Enforcement. My credentials are on file with the city. I've had contact with the people here, and also they've done repairs. They were done without a permit. I'm asking for $100 a day to a maximum of $15,000.
Okay, the notice of violation, if I'm on the correct case, Cedar Families LLC, says no permit, roof, fascia windows, rotting wood, paint, dirt, and grime. First notification, April 28, 2021. Then the next thing I see is an order of noncompliance, ordering the respondent to come into compliance by November 3. I now have an affidavit of noncompliance that says the respondents have failed to come into compliance with all that, and I guess the city's looking for $100 per day up to a maximum of $15,000. Is that what I heard?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what say the respondent?
My name is Adam Haba. I'm here on behalf of Cedar Families LLC. I've spoken with the Riddicks here. They indicated that there has been a new roof put on. We just need to pull the permit for that. They've done some painting work.
Excuse me, how did you put on a new roof without getting a permit first?
I'm not sure. I just know that the roof was put on and apparently the permit wasn't properly pulled. But we do have an inspector that's been out there. We hired a vendor to go out there and do a full inspection. So they are working on pulling the proper permits for the work that has been done or any additional work that needs to be done. They've just been having some difficulties getting that process completed, but they have started it. So we're just looking for some additional time. We have been making progress. The Riddick said that the painting, the place has been painted. Officer Fitzgerald indicated that he said it looks good as well, the painting. He says the roof is new, looks good. It just needs the permit. There may be some issues still with the driveway. There's some cracking in there. That may still need to be taken care of. But I think we are making progress. We're just looking for hopefully some additional time. I think by the January 5th date, we could have everything completed if we could hold off on the fines for one more cycle.
Okay, Mr. Inspector, did we take care of the dirt and grime?
Yes, sir. And the house has been painted. You can see what it looks like now.
Paint, did we take care of the rotting wood?
Not round.
Yeah, most of it, except for you see the carport's still missing the roof, and that was where the rotting wood was.
Windows. What's the problem with windows? Have the windows been taken care of?
I'm sorry?
Nothing's wrong with the windows, okay. I mean, you can say that just as long as he agrees when the time comes.
Well, I will say it was a broken pane where that board was at. That pane was broken and we replaced it.
Okay, and I haven't seen the broken pane, but there's damage underneath the window frame in the carport. There's the bottom of the frame.
That one.
That one right there?
Yeah, right there.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and we have a roof. How did we get the roof on without a permit?
Well, the whole roof is not done. It was basically repaired from the hurricane in 2017.
Okay,
And I applied for the program with the city, and they say we didn't qualify. So somebody was willing to repair that porch part and the part that was pulled up from the hurricane for me. But the entire roof is not done. When the guy came and inspected this weekend, he found some soft spots on the roof.
which guy are we talking about?
I'm sorry.
When you said when the guy came and looked at it,
Our
Yes,
vendor?
your
Okay.
vendor.
Yeah.
so your inspector found soft spots that he's gonna fix?
Yes.
Okay. And I take it you now know that you need permits to get the work done?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And how much time do you think is gonna be necessary for you to get this work done?
We're requesting 60 days is what our vendors told us that they need to come into compliance.
Okay, and I assume your vendor knows that means going back to the city to get a permit and then completing?
Yeah, apparently he's already started that, reaching out to the city to pull the permits is what he's explained to us.
All right, so Mr. Inspector, sounds like these folks have made an effort to try to come into compliance.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 5, 2022 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Please keep in mind, if you have any questions as to what needs to be done in order for you to come into compliance, don't be bashful about contacting our inspector. He'll be happy to clarify anything you need to know. I guess we're giving you the full 60 days you're asking for. So that having been said, please do everything you can to not come back here anymore. All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
What would be the date of the next meeting for if we did need to come
January
back?
11, 2022.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Case number 55, why are you holding your hand up?
Sir, we have a letter to be here if we can't find ourselves on the list anywhere.
All right, I think this gentleman will give you a hand. Okay, this is Race Coast Marina Land Holdings LLC, a continuation from the October hearing to set a compliance date. And your name?
Yes, sir. For the record, my name is Corey Brown with Storch Law Firm, 420 South Node Road, Daytona Beach.
You're with which law firm?
Storch Law Firm,
And your name again?
Corey Brown.
Okay, Race Coast Marina, outside storage. Isn't this boats and a condominium?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And all we did at the last meeting was continue the determination of a compliance date?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, Mr. Inspector, what do you propose for a compliance date?
Next cutoff, I just got an email from him yesterday, first time, and so no progress other than he's at a TRT meeting. So it has to be done by the next cutoff,
No progress other than what?
which is a TRT meeting. Sure.
We received comments from the city for the rezoning we requested, and,
Hold it.
yes, sir.
Stop for a second. Back up. So you've made an application to rezone this property?
Yes, for an amendment to the plan development zoning.
When did you start that?
That was started several months ago.
How long is it expected to last?
Let's see, I'm thinking probably a few more months.
A few more months.
We have to go to a redevelopment board meeting for that area. We need to go to a planning board meeting, and we have, I believe, 2 city commission meetings thereafter to complete the amendment process.
Would this not fall under the category of seeking administrative relief for the purpose of coming into compliance?
Yes, sir, I believe it does.
Okay, because
Mr. Magistrate, we have somebody here from planning that might be able to give an update on the status of this, but my last understanding of this is that they had their preliminary meeting with the TRT team. They gave them their notes and their direction as which they needed to proceed, but there hadn't been any updated progress since that meeting.
Yeah, if I may, Ms. Verkelder, in our initial proceeding, they indicated that they were going to be doing this isn't new information.
Right.
They just hadn't been making the
well, I just
progress.
hadn't heard anything more of it lately.
And that was the problem as well
Until yesterday.
for our code councils, that they weren't hearing anything either. But they have started that process, but they hadn't been adequately responsive even in the process through the TRT, according to staff.
So where do we stand right now as far as any efforts to initiate an administrative proceeding to acquire the rezoning that presumably would impact the determination on this case?
Yes, sir, we received comments from staff, and as of yesterday, I've done a resubmittal, and I have a copy for you. I've given it to the
You don't need to
clerk.
give it to me, so you are pursuing the process.
Yes, sir.
And when do you expect to complete that process, assuming you continue to pursue it in good faith? Which, if I come to the determination you're not, then that'll be the end of that.
Yes, sir. So we made this resubmittal to the city. They will take a period of their review process, period of several weeks to get us back comments. We're scheduling a neighborhood meeting to discuss as required by the code, to discuss the PD amendment.
Okay, let's fast forward this.
Yes, sir.
So when's it going to be done?
So we're looking at probably a month to get comments back. If that goes well, we could have a redevelopment board meeting within the next several weeks thereafter, and then a planning board meeting thereafter that, and then if everything goes well, city commission hearings.
And when do you expect those city commission hearings to take place?
I'm thinking probably beginning about 3 months from now.
Ms. Verkelder, Ms. Askew is here from our planning vision, and she can, if that would help you. Again, just clarify, I don't know if she necessarily even agree with the timeline that he's giving on what it should take. So I didn't know if that would just be informative to you.
Good morning, Rose Askew, Planning Coordinator for the city. Normal processing time for rezonings is 4 to 6 months.
Okay.
So if he turned in his application in April, we should already be to the point. The problem we're having is there's been a lack in response from the applicants for providing what we've asked them for. And what typically happens is when time comes for the magistrate meeting to come up, they will respond then in order to be able to say they're actually cooperating with us. So this application, we respond to comments within 1 to 2 weeks. It does not take a month. And then the,
In April.
yes, sir. And then the applicant is supposed to, within 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, respond back to us. When we have applications that have, because we're not getting any kind of responses from the actual applicant, and so it drags out for a long time. And there's nothing we can do on our part until they resubmit. And like he said, he's just resubmitting yesterday from an application that started in April.
That's, that's Code's perspective as well. There's been a lack of communication. This resubmittal is the day before hearing that it was submitted to the city, and it's, there was a 90-day deadline even set that's rapidly approaching at the end of the month as well. So, although this is a step forward, it's a step forward at the very last minute.
Okay, and to come into compliance would require these people to what? Remove all those boats?
Yes,
To
sir.
come into,
Trailers?
yes, sir. They have boats stored on the property that were not approved to be there because it wasn't part of the planned development. So it's an outside storage use that's not currently allowed. And so what staff did is we told them, you can rezone the property, you can go back and amend your planned development to add that agreement on there. And once you've added it on there, then you have to develop the site, meaning the parking and all of the things you need to accommodate having the boats parked there. But we didn't make them remove all of them because our understanding was they were going to go through the process in a timely manner in order to be able to keep them there. We worked with them because we didn't want them to have the extra cost of trying to store them somewhere else while they were going through that process, but it doesn't seem to be happening.
Okay, Counselor, what's your explanation for the delay in the process?
I don't have a good explanation, to be honest with you. For the last hearing, Officer Clegg tried to contact me, but it was my responsibility to talk to him, and that didn't happen. So this process does take a long time, but I agree that there has been a delay. But we are proceeding in good faith, and I just need some more time to be able to get to our board meetings and our city
How long
commission.
have those boats been down there? Hasn't it been years?
Probably, yes, sir. I mean, I don't know exactly when each of the boats got there,
I
but
mean, it's further back than I can even remember. I was born here. So, in any event.
we've got support from most of the boats, my understanding is, are from the condominiums, and we've got support from them. It's just a matter of finishing the PD amendment process.
I think it's important that the city's only asking for a compliance date to be set. We're not asking for a fine today. Well, I mean, I think even if we set a compliance date for next January and we see what progress we made between now and then, if there's a reason to amend at that point because they need more time and they've made progress since between now and then that would be a reason to amend. And I think the city would be amenable to that, and it would show that we were making progress.
Okay. Well, it must be the Christmas spirit descending early. All right, I'm going to order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. I'm also going to order a caveat, as long as I am satisfied that the respondent, because I take to heart a citizen's right to pursue administrative relief if they think there's a way. Anyway, that's their constitutional right, and I take that very seriously. Now, you've already burned a lot of that time. So if I come to the conclusion that there's been any foot dragging on your application from here on out, then we'll be done and we'll be going straight to the fine.
Sure.
Okay? All right. Now, I wish you all the luck in the world, but I'm a little surprised to hear, because when this thing started, we had lawyers here, we had developers here, we had history lessons on the community and the riverfront, and I thought this was going to be taken care of, and now I'm hearing that, yes, an application was made, the city was responsive, and now it's been sitting idle for going on 7 months. So that really surprises me. So anyway, that's history. You got till January 5, 2022 to come into compliance, or you'll be fined $1,000 per day. But if it turns out that you are pursuing it in good faith and you will require more time, then before January 11, 2022, has to be put on the January 11th agenda so we can reconsider today's ruling on the basis of good cause, having been shown by you that the respondent has in fact been diligently pursuing its administrative relief. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Case number 58.
Morning, Your
Counselor.
Honor. Jeff Brock, 444 Seabreeze Boulevard, Daytona Beach, Florida, representing the owner, 736 South Beach Street, Inc., who is a resident of Canada and could not be here this morning. I have with me today Mark from Sun State Contractors, who will provide some testimony as to the state of coming into compliance.
10-4.
State your name for the record.
Mark Morissette,
Spell the last name.
Morrissettee.
Okay. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, this matter's here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector. Mr. Clegg?
Yes, sir. Since last hearing, I had no contact with anybody from the property. No progress, looks the same. City's recommending a $500 a day fine to $20,000. And also no demo permit was issued at all. It was
I'm
part
sorry,
of,
say that part one more time.
there was no demo permit issued also.
And Ms. Vakel, if I may be heard as well.
Yes, sir.
Anthony Jackson, attorney for the city, just in support of the request for the substantial fine of $500 per day. This has been 2 years since they were first notified. They've made several promises of some effort to sell, but nothing's been done in terms of actually making any kind of improvements. So it is indeed, the gravity of it is that it's been sitting for a long time and there's been little effort to have it accomplished.
Okay, so is that the structure we're dealing with? That I'm seeing on the on the,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's the old Baggett and Summers Funeral Home on Beach Street.
oh, okay, well.
And recently,
said that.
half of the roof right there, the siding came down from the carport during the rainstorm, so it's becoming a public safety issue also.
So what does the respondent have to do to come into compliance?
Your last order was either have it demolished or have the permit started to do work on it, but nothing's been done.
Good enough. Okay, what say the respondent?
Thank you, Your Honor. First of all, I'd like to thank the city for their patience. It has been a long time. I do have good news to report that the property is under contract for sale and purchase. The closing date is December 3rd. The seller and buyer have agreed to share costs in making the property come into compliance. The seller is engaged Sun State constructors to make the repairs on the seller's behalf, and the buyer has engaged a contractor to paint the building post-closing. And that contractor has committed to have it completely painted by December 31st. We have the contractor here to discuss his timing for making those repairs, and we'd be asking to bring the property into compliance by January 5th. We would ask that this court not lien the property. It is seller financing on December 3rd, and the title will be, the lien would be ahead of the seller's mortgage, which will likely upset the closing. So we'd ask that you not lien the property today. with the week, bring it into compliance by January 5th, and if that's not done, then they'll lien the property at that time. Mark, could you comment, please, on the construction activity and when you
Step up
think
to the
it'll be
mic,
done?
Mark.
Yes,
What are we doing with this thing? Are we demolishing it or refurbishing it?
refurbishing it.
And you can do that by December 31st?
Except for the windows.
By the way, has he been sworn?
Yes.
I just thought I'd ask. Okay.
Except for the windows. The windows lead time could be up to 15 weeks. Unfortunately.
So now let's keep parsing it down. So tell me what you are going to have done by December 31st.
All the exterior woodwork that needs is the dilapidated wood. We haven't been able to assess if there's any structural damage up under the porte-cochere. The back siding will be replaced as soon as I get a permit. I'm going to apply for that today. And any work we can do without a permit, we're going to start tomorrow.
Okay, Mr. Inspector, what does that sound like to you? Does that address the sort of things that they'll have to do in order to come into compliance?
Yes,
if they
sir.
go the refurbishing route?
Yeah, it's fine as long as the permit's been issued. Nothing's been issued as of today, and just want to remind you, we did have a prior sale that fell through, so.
I understand.
I signed my contract with the owner 4 days ago.
Okay. All right, hang on a second. The respondent is indicating the windows are a problem.
Yes, sir.
What's your experience been?
Definitely going to have to reorder them, re-permit it, and probably 5, 6 at least windows need to be replaced. So,
So when you're done, this place is going to look like a gem in the middle of our community?
It's going to look a lot better than it is right now.
Well, I'll settle for that. Or I might settle for that. Okay.
The
Can this
buyers,
building be refurbished, Mr. Clegg? I mean, this.
I haven't been in the
This thing has
interior.
been going downhill
Yeah.
since God knows when.
It doesn't, it's going to be a lot of money and time. I haven't been inside of it, so I just looked at exteriors. A lot of work needs to be done.
But as far as compliance is concerned, he could do that by December 31st with the exception of the windows.
It's going to be a lot of work.
Feasible.
He says, I don't believe so, no, sir.
Pardon?
I don't believe it will be done by then. It'll be longer.
Because you're thinking the quantum of work from
Yes,
where,
sir. Yep.
from where you see it would take it well beyond that?
Yeah, there's concrete columns need to be right there, it needs to be redone. There's spalling coming off from the concrete dropping in the front of the building. It's a lot of work.
So, Mr. Morissette, you're aware of all that, I presume?
As I said, the structural has not been assessed yet.
Well, then how can you tell me you're going to have it fixed by December 31st?
That's if the structural is there. If the spalling, we break into the spalling, we don't have to do too much repair. We can do it by December 31st.
Okay.
But if it gets in there, we have to replace all those columns, so then it would be a lot longer. From what I looked at, the columns aren't a big problem. They're basically, the columns themselves are metal. They're a accent to a structural column that's in the middle of them. It's not the structural portion of the building. What the officer is looking at, he's looking at metal that is rusted, which the column, like I said, is nothing more than decorative. The column that's inside, I believe, is a Lally column. I believe it's a steel column full of concrete, from what I've looked at.
Yeah, I was looking up front.
Yeah, the front ones are a lot better than the ones that are on the porte-cochere.
And when do you plan on your crew starting work?
Tomorrow. For doing anything we can do without a permit. And I'm applying for a permit today, as soon as we leave this hearing.
Okay. All right, well, here's what I'm going to do. This matter's here for the imposition of a fine. I'm going to continue the determination of any fine to our January 11, 2022 meeting. And if at our January 11, 2022 meeting, a lot of work has been done and it all looks good, and the only thing left to be done are things that are beyond your control or things that you perhaps encountered that you couldn't have anticipated, but you're working on them anyway, then I will consider more time at that time. If, on the other hand, and I mean no insult to you, all of a sudden our contractor disappears, because sometimes it happens, or the place is up for sale again, or something like that, then I will be entertaining the fine that the city's looking for now. So I'm an optimist. I'm looking forward to seeing you turn this into something valuable for our community. And I'll be happy to see it when it happens. So in any event, I'm going to kick the can down the road for the sake of the property owner to our January 11, 2022 meeting. I already know you can't come into compliance because everybody is in agreement that the windows are problematic. Okay, so we will either talk at our January 11, 2022 meeting because we're happy with the quantum of work that's been done about when we will establish a compliance date for whatever's left to be done, or if things don't work out the way I'm being told right now, then we'll be considering a fine at that time.
And Mr. Kelger, I'm sure Mr. Brock is good with this. It's something he would probably do anyway, but just as soon as the conveyance is done, if we can get that paperwork so we can give adequate notice. We don't want to have to come in January and then extend based upon the new ownership.
Absolutely.
We want to be on
I'm sorry,
time.
what is it you're looking for?
Normally, we would extend after the sale for the new ownership, but if they're expecting a new ownership, we don't want to come in January and then have to extend to February because they got a new owner, because that's the first time they actually give us
So
a
you
notice.
want to add the new owner now?
Well, we just want to make sure that Mr. Brock follows through and get that information to us as soon as it occurs. When's the anticipated
December
closing?
3rd.
Okay, so at that point, we'll be adding, we'll be giving them the adequate notice so that we'll be on.
And we'll be expecting the new owner to
time.
stipulate to appearing in this.
Right.
Aren't you telling me it's going to be a joint effort between
It
the
is.
new owner and the current owner?
And the contract gives notice to the buyer that they're taken subject to an open code case, and they've been given all the documentation on the issues.
Okay.
And of course, the normal process is that we just add the new owner anyway so that they are both responsible, the new owner as well as the prior owner.
And forgive my curiosity, what does the new owner hope to do with the building?
Apartments, small apartment
Very good.
house.
All right, gentlemen, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Mr. Magistrate, case number 28 is attending by Zoom, and he's a physician at the hospital. He was wondering if he could go so he could get back to work.
Sure. Hope the patient's not on hold.
All three cases.
Oh, it sounds like he actually has 3 cases in a row, 28, 29, and 30.
Yep.
All right, we'll go to case number 20. So I'm going to 28, 29, and 30?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Case number 28, Seabreeze A1A LLC.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, who do I have for the respondent?
Do you hear me? My name's David Turetsky. I'm one of the owners.
Okay. Dr. Turetsky, what's your affiliation with Seabreeze A1A LLC?
I'm one of the owners and the managing partner.
Okay. We actually have 3 cases here, cases 28, 29, and 30. Are you aware of that?
Yes, they're all adjacent properties. It's essentially one property. They're all linked together. It's really one location.
Okay, let me see if I can expedite this. Do you agree these violations existed or occurred as stated in these notices of... Oh, I'm sorry, first I have to have you sworn.
Okay.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Doctor, do you agree these violations existed as stated in the notices of violation?
Yes, as of those dates, I can tell you as of November 2nd, they were repaired. When I have a chance, I'd just like to make a comment as well, but they're repaired now, so I would have no issues. And if I could make a comment when you're done, I'd appreciate that.
Absolutely, but let me see if I can get through what I need to first. So as far as as far as all 3 of these cases are concerned, you're in agreement they were in non-compliance?
Yes.
Mr. Inspector, how much time should it take to come into compliance?
Next cutoff, please.
The next cutoff is January 5th, 2022. Our inspector is suggesting you ought to be able to be done by that. Sounds as though you're telling me you've already done it.
Yes, sir.
All right, then all you need to do is call for an inspection, and once our inspector is satisfied that you're in compliance, that'll be the end of it. Does that sound good to you?
Yes, but I'd still like to make a comment if possible.
Go right ahead.
So this location is across the street from the Proto Group and right down from Seabreeze. I assume you know where that is. And we have owned this property since 2014. We actually had to tear down a building because of the homeless issue to keep that in track. This location is very much of an attractive nuisance, and we've done our best to try to keep people out of it. But no matter what we do, people will break through the fence, will camp out there. There's a corner next to the surf shop that they can be there. Shortly after purchasing the property, we signed the agreement for the no trespass order. We put up the no trespass signs. I posted them high in the trees, but they're constantly removed. My next thought was maybe motion sensing lights high up in the trees to maybe try to keep people off. But this is a very difficult problem to solve, and I'm asking the city for maybe either more patrolling or more whatever I need to do to help keep people out of this. It's just a very, it's a difficult area. Our intentions are to develop the property when the Proto Group was supposed to finish in 2019, hopefully a restaurant, but we're nowhere near that yet because the area has not developed as we had expected till this point.
The police department takes note of it, and we'll send a special request to the patrol units to make extra patrols.
Did you hear Officer Lee?
Yes, I did. That would be great. I really appreciate that.
Okay, and Doctor, let me put your mind at ease a little bit. I'm a lifelong resident here. I live on the beach side. My wife owns a preschool on Peninsula, which is probably just around the corner from you, and I understand and appreciate the difficulties that folks along A1A sometimes encounter when it comes to trying to keep strangers off their property and what have you. So we appreciate your efforts in coming into compliance, and with that having been said, the best of luck to you and your patience.
Thank you, sir.
All right, good luck to you.
Okay, bye.
All right, with regard to case number 28, I've found the cases 28, 29, and 30. I'm finding the respondents in noncompliance and ordering the respondents to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. All right, case number 1, Jonathan Worsham, Allison Worsham, Patrick Worsham.
State your name for the record.
Allison Worsham.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we are here to set a compliance date. And as I recall, the respondents were wrestling with either coming into compliance at this location or finding another location. I can't remember which. In any event, we'll let our respondent go first. What is the respondent currently proposing to do?
So we're currently the deal that we thought we had with the other property, it didn't go through. So we're going to develop our own property, the property that we own, and that's where we are right now. So we're moving forward with coming into compliance with our own property and developing it.
And when do you expect to be in compliance?
Well, currently, what we're doing is we're working through we received the instructions on getting it rezoned and future use changed, and we're working through that process now. We have the neighborhood meeting scheduled for tonight. We've sent all the letters out. We've had both advisory planning board meetings, and we're working through the small comprehensive plan amendment. We're working with the engineer and our GC, and we're moving forward.
What is it you're getting it from? What is the current zoning?
Well, the front portion of the property is RP, is residential, and the back portion is M1. So we're pretty much in compliance in the back portion, but the front portion is where we're out of compliance because it's residential.
Okay. So you don't have a compliance date to propose?
Well, actually, we're working through the zoning and land use change requirements, and I have an email from Hannah Ward, and she says that it typically takes about 4 to 6 months. So we're about halfway through this process. And we received the information on October 12th, and we already have meetings and everything scheduled. So I say that we're moving pretty.
Okay, what say the city?
Good morning, Rose Askew, Planning Coordinator with the city. As of today, we've not received any submittals on applications. That is correct. Hannah sent her an email, but we started meeting with them approximately 6 to 8 months ago. I've got all of the emails here. Originally, there was going to be a building built on the property, 4-story building. We went through the technical review team meeting, went through all of that, and then we didn't hear anything. And then when they came back, they had decided they were going to correct it. They currently have one business license to be able to have a contractor's office there. None of the property is in compliance at all. It requires a rezoning, a land use change, combining the parcels. As of today's date, we have gotten no submittals. We just keep getting different emails asking different questions, but no actual submittals to start the process. So that 4 to 6 months that she's talking about has not even begun yet because they've not turned in anything to the city. We just keep getting multiple emails with different types of questions, and every time we explain it, we get something else back that's asking for some different information. And we want to work with them, but we can't do anything until they actually start to submit the applications to begin the process.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Can I
Mr.
say something?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think that, we're working through the list that was sent by Hannah. And on point number 3, it says the site plan cannot be approved unless the SSCPA and rezoning applications are approved. And we can't do that until we do the first 2. And we're working through the first 2. We have the meetings tonight. We sent out all the letters to about 50 residents that were around, and we've already had 2 of the advisory meetings. And we reopened the permit for the block masonry wall. And we've been working through it, but we're following the list, and we're working on it. We're following the list, so we can't. It says that we can't submit it.
That's not correct.
Well, I'm reading it.
Yeah, my name is Rose Askew. I've actually communicated with Mr. Worsham quite often, and so I want to make sure. Just let me finish, please. I just want to make sure you understand. No work as far as repairs on there is supposed to be done until you go through the site plan process. The order that you all are doing it is not the correct order. That's why you're having problems. And we've explained that to Mr. Worsham. You are supposed to submit your application for your land use change and your rezoning. We review that. Once that gets approved, and you can turn in your site plan application at the same time. You've done a neighborhood meeting, but we don't even know if that meeting meets the criteria in the land development code. They're doing things out of order based on how they think the process works, and that's not how it works. We have a very specific process. You turn in, she's done her neighborhood meeting, but we don't know if the neighborhood meeting meets the criteria in our code. There are some very specific things that have to be done for the neighborhood meeting in order for it to count towards what you're coming forward to do. So you do your neighborhood meeting. We normally send you an email saying, here's what's required for the neighborhood meeting, and they have to provide us with the documents that's showing they met that criteria. We don't have that as of yet. We just know they had a meeting. In addition to that, once you've done your neighborhood meeting, you can go ahead and turn in your rezoning application, your land use change, and your site plan, and we review them concurrently. That's how we stay on the 4 to 6 month process. So there are some things that they're doing, but they're not doing them in order based on how our land development code requires you to do them. And until we start to receive applications, that 4 to 6 month period she's referencing does not start until we get those applications.
Mr. Magistrate, you'll find in your packet, you should find in your packet a copy of an email from Hannah Ward to them, and it outlines what the steps that they need to take. And the first step is submit a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to change the future land use designation on, and then it lists the parcels. And that's an example of, that's the first step, and that step has not been taken. And that's what Ms. Askew is here testifying to today. And without starting that part of the process, the next steps cannot be processed. They can't start and they can't be accurately achieved or accomplished without starting that process.
I'm sorry, your name again?
Rose Askew. I'm the planning coordinator with the city.
What's your last name?
Askew, Askew.
Like Ruben Askew.
Yes,
Very good. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Okay, well, we're here to establish a compliance date. Mr. Inspector, do you have a compliance date to propose?
Yes, sir. It's next cutoff.
Okay, the next cutoff is January 5, 2022. So, we've already found the respondent in noncompliance. I'm going to order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Okay, now, let me try to unpack some of what you're doing and some of what you're saying.
Okay.
First off, if I were you, I would schedule an appointment with Ms. Askew and start taking notes about the protocol to be followed, because she pretty much laid it out there for you. And it can be confusing. I understand that. But I would meet with Ms. Askew to find out what you need to do. You're going about this in kind of a haphazard manner. You're touching on bits and pieces from it sounds to me as though you're touching on bits and pieces from different parts of the organization without really having the game plan that you need to have in order to get done what you're trying to get done. Now, I'm ordering you to come into compliance by January 5, 2022. If you're not in compliance by then, you're going to be here on January 11, 2022 for me to consider imposing a fine. Now, at that hearing on January 11, 22, if what I hear is, okay, well, I've got all my ducks in a row now, I've got everything straightened out, and I've done everything I could to get all the applications filed I needed, all the letters out that I need, all the plans submitted I need, but I'm going to need more time, then I'll hear you out at that point in time. If, on the other hand, on January 11, 2022, we meet again, and you're still lost in the woods, and no progress has been made toward what you're trying to accomplish, when Ms. Askew is prepared to lay it all out for you, and she's kind of put you on notice. I see you shaking your head at me.
Yeah, because she's not responsible.
Well, okay. Well, all I'm going to tell you is that at some point, you may be standing there, and she may be standing there, and her explanation sounded pretty plausible to me. So if you've got another argument you want to make, you'll have every right to air it out. It may or may not save y'all from being fined. So, all that having been said, you figure out how to do what it is you're trying to do. As it stands right now, on January 5th, you're expected to be in compliance. If you're not, on January 11, you better have a real good explanation for that, or else they're going to be asking for a fine. Okay? Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Case number 2, 500 Seabreeze, LLC. Yes, sir. If you would please state your name.
Antoine Gandy.
Antoine, sorry.
Gandy.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. What's your affiliation with 500 Seabreeze, LLC?
Current owner of the hookah pub.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Current
What?
owner of the hookah pub.
This is a hookah pub.
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you the owner?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Fine. Impose a fine. Irreparable and, is that supposed to say irreversible?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All right, so let's hear from our inspector. Mr. Inspector, why should I be fining this respondent?
My name is Clifford Reckinson. I'm an inspector with the city. We're here for a zoning violation. The property is Zone BR1. Bottle clubs are not permitted use in the zoning district. Obstruction of egress further endangering the safety of customers. This violation has caused a risk to life and safety. On March 15th, 2021, I was contacted by law enforcement about a public safety issue at 500 Seabreeze location. I was given access to body cam footage taken by law enforcement at 3:13 a.m. on March 13th. The video started on the outside of the business called the Hookah Pub. 27 seconds into the video shows the outside seating, which is outside the scope of their business receipt. 30 seconds into the video, it shows Captain Lee pulling on the front door to find a main exit of the business locked from the inside. It was only to the business owner banged on the window that the door was unlocked for law enforcement to enter the building. The building was so crowded and it was almost impossible to move through the crowd to the room to the back of the building. There was people dancing and drinking in place, and it was so tight while they were being entertained by music. These activities are outside the scope of their business. 6 minutes into the video shows Captain Lee removing a half-empty bottle of alcohol from a customer. 8 minutes and 7 seconds into the video, the first hookah device comes into view. Once the crowd finally exited the building, there was no other sites of hookah sales, hookah rentals, or hookah supplies in the building. The room had few benches and tables against the wall covered in used cups. 12 minutes and 16 seconds into the video, the business owner states Razzles nightclub and other clubs have the same issues he has, and it's a club business, and you can't catch everyone that brings something inside.
Can I say something?
I still have more.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm going to hand out, here's the commercial use classification and interpretation of retail sales services use and as defined in the Land Development Code under Section 11.3A.7I. Also, the Florida State Statute of 56101, paragraph 15, defining what a bottle club is, you will see on the screen tables 5.2A.2, where the property is not zoned for a bottle club, as it's not permitted by zone. Thank you. Florida State Statute 561.01, paragraph 15, bottle club means a commercial establishment operated for profit, whether or not profit is actually made within the patron consumes alcohol beverage which are brought onto the premises and not sold or supplied to the patrons by the establishment, whether the patron brings in and maintains custody of the alcohol beverage or surrenders custody to the establishment for dispensing on property and which is located in the building or other enclosed permanent structures, which I observed on the video recording on March 13th, 2021. Paragraph I shows everything you can do with a business tax receipt for retail sales and services use. This action that was viewed on the video shows that was not what we had here on the early morning of March 13th. This business operated as a commercial establishment, operated for profit, where beverages were brought into the premises by patrons to the establishment, which the location is not licensed for. This problem is difficult for law enforcement to address in the middle of the night. This exaggerates when the business owner blocks the city entering to the business and by locking the doors and obstructing egress. This obstruction of egress further endangered the safety of customers, and this violation caused a risk of life and health safety, making this violation irreparable, irreversible. The city is asking for a finding of irreparable, irreversible, and a one-time fine of $15,000.
What say the respondent?
Your Magistrate, this was an issue, I believe, back in March. I want to say it was Bike Week, something in that nature, where there's a lot of people. As you can see there on the the windows, we have signs right there that say no alcohol served here. When I first got that business, we had an issue with people sneaking in bottles and things of that nature because that's what they were doing with the previous owner. To eradicate that problem, we had we hired off-duty police officers such as retired Officer Doe. He worked there for a few months. As of now, I believe like the last 4 or 5 months, we have a security company that we use. The problem that we were having was even though we can search the males, we were having issues with females here and there sneaking beverages in because we didn't have the female officers to properly search them. Since March, we've acquired female security staff to properly search them to eradicate that problem. As far as the doors being locked, I had a meeting with Police Chief Jakari Young as well as Captain Lee, where we had an incident prior to that where there was some misconduct on the behalf of the Daytona Beach Police Department, where Officer Young apologized for. So when he did can't come in, it was just a lack of respect. I was asking, as you can see me outside, what's going on? Can I help you? I have no problem with complying with them or working with them. Me and him have been back and forth for almost a year now, so I don't have a problem with complying with anything. I haven't had any run-ins with Daytona Beach Police since March. I haven't had any issues since March, except them coming in recently, giving me, a notice to fix certain things inside of the building or whatever. But I'm doing my best to run a, successful business. We don't allow alcohol. We don't serve alcohol. Captain Lee and I want to say informed ABT. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but that's the Alcohol, Beverage, and Tobacco Division. They came in, opened an investigation, and determined that I wasn't operating as a bottle club, and actually gave me a warning, not a fine or anything. Far as operating outside of my business license, the hookah industry, coffee shop industry is fairly new. As Ms. DeBala and her supervisor could tell you, there's no special permit or licensing for a hookah establishment or coffee shop. Retail is what the retail sales of tobacco is a retail sales of tobacco permit that you need to operate a hookah lounge in the state of Florida. It doesn't limit you to only retail. If I was only retail, I would be basically tobacco exotica or something like that. The fact that the customer comes in, purchases a hookah and consumes the product on my property kind of takes the whole retail aspect away. If I have pictures right here, you can see that normally I'm not that crowded. We do have that, like I said, that was an event. I want to say Bike Week where we didn't have a capacity in place. We now have a capacity in place from the fire marshal that took effect, I want to say, a month ago maybe? 2 months ago. So yeah, up until then, we haven't had a capacity. But normally, we have a crowd of maybe 100, 125 people up until the capacity, which they lowered me down now to about 99. And that hasn't been broken since it's been put into play. Right now, I'm trying to get an outside contractor to come in and reassess that judgment because we added almost.
Okay, let me start asking a few questions here.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Inspector, what time's closing time on Seabreeze?
I'm sorry?
What time's closing time?
For a retail store?
Well, I don't know, for a retail store for starters.
There's no, I don't believe there's any strict limits for a retail store.
Okay.
In the state of Florida, the hookah lounge, coffee shop could actually operate 24 hours, but we close around.
Okay, were you on the
4:30.
premises on March 15th?
March 15th?
Isn't that the day of the event that you're complaining of?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You were there?
Yes, sir.
So are you the one that opened the door for the police?
I was actually, that's me actually talking to him, asking him, you know, like I said, we had an incident that I discussed with Police Chief Jakar Young with me. And
Don't
him
give me any more
had a
history
meeting.
lessons. I'm not
No, I'm
interested.
just saying.
March 15th.
March 15th, that's me right. That's me
just
right.
for clarification, I think that Inspector Reckenzone was notified on the 15th, but the actual incident was on the morning of the 13th. Is
Okay,
that
so
correct?
were you there the morning of the
Yes, sir.
13th?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what time was it when the police tried to get in? 3 o'clock in the morning?
I want to say I'm not actually sure, but
That's correct.
somewhere between 2:30 and 3 o'clock, somewhere between.
Okay, and how many people were inside the premises at that time?
Approximately, I don't know an approximate number, but I'm guessing around 175 people.
Okay.
And,
Mr. Rackenzone suggested it was so crowded that people could hardly move. Is that a fair characterization?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay, and was there alcohol found on the premises?
My security team, like I said, we do search. That was a bottle that was found that somebody did sneak in, but at that time we did not have a female security guard in play.
Okay,
to
so there
properly
was
search
alcohol
them.
on the premises?
Yes, that we did. And normally, when we search somebody, and if they do have it, we do not let them on the premises. If we do catch it, we confiscate it and kick them out of the venue.
Mr. Magistrate, just for clarification also, the observations, which might not be as observable on the video, but my observations when I was there that evening is that when you were inside the establishment, it was very tightly packed, and that there was alcohol in so many people's hands, small bottles of alcohol approximately about this size, that even if they hadn't found it on the time of entry, staff that should have been inside the establishment would have easily been able to identify these bottles of alcohol like I was able to, and been able to address the issue inside the establishment and either start having people removed from the establishment or removing the alcohol and addressing the issue. And none of that was occurring.
Since March, since that particular date, we've actually added more security. We had ABT, alcohol, beverage, and tobacco, which was sent in to do an investigation to see if we were acting like a bottle club, and they determined that we weren't acting like a bottle club. Like I said, this
Bars
was
on Seabreeze have to be closed by?
So last call occurs at 2:30, and every person has to be off of the property by 3 o'clock. And I believe we have a timestamp on this video. It was after 3. It's do you have it right there? It's
but
3.
So are you going to
again,
tell me
hookah
all
lounges.
these people were there at 3 a.m. in the
Yes,
morning?
sir. Again, hookah lounges. We don't
Using hookah pipes?
Yeah, we have hookahs and we
But
have
that's what they were all there to
shisha
do?
pens. No, this was like I said, this particular night was in March, where it was like everybody got this big rush for bike week or whatever it was. Typically, we're not that packed. Every weekend, we're not that packed. This is not a everyday, every weekend thing. Hookah lounges, like I said, in the state of Florida, or are allowed to operate past that time. Just like Hookah Buka that's around the corner on Grandview, they actually close at 5 a.m. in the morning.
He is correct. There's no cutoff time or closing.
I actually
time for
close
hookah.
at around 4,
Mr.
4:30.
Yankee.
Oh, yes, sir.
Just a second. He is correct. There's no cutoff time for a hookah establishment. It's classified like we were talking about as retail sales, and there is no cutoff time in which they have to close. The issue here, as you can see from the evidence that we presented, is they're operating like a bottle club on this date, and these are continuous problems and issues that we're having with this establishment, and more so they're operating as a nightclub or as a place where people assemble and conduct activities that are outside of hookah. Even when we were here this night, there was a limited amount of hookah paraphernalia, for lack of a better word, in the establishment. There was really nobody using any hookah that I could observe when I was in the place. There was nobody using the establishment for what they are identifying themselves as.
I have here videos, pictures, sir, of what we look like on a regular weekend. I pay taxes on my sales of tobacco. So we do sell tobacco. We do sell hookahs. I don't
Are
know
we
if
all
you
done?
want to see them or not, but they're here.
I'll look at whatever you want me to look at.
Okay.
Although, I got to be honest, I don't know what it looks like on a night other than this is going to be important, but okay.
Yeah, that's a night other than a bike week night.
Right.
It doesn't look like
Okay.
that every night. Like I said, we didn't have a capacity in play. The fire marshal came in, put a capacity into play. We haven't went over capacity since that has been implemented. We haven't had any issues with the police since this March. This was way back in March. We haven't had any issues with the police.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and find that on this occasion, at least, this facility was in fact being utilized as a bottle club, which is prohibited. I'm going to fine the respondent the sum of $3,500 because I find that the nature of the violation was irreparable and irreversible. And the nature of the violation was alcohol being on premises, the place apparently being packed to overcapacity, means of egress being impaired, and the facility was locked up such that the police couldn't even get access, or anyone else, or any other life safety people couldn't have gotten access had they needed to do so. So at this point, the fine is $3,500. Now, I have not heard of you or your facility having been brought before me earlier, so I guess what I'm going to say is I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt on a lot of this, which is why the fine is only $3,500. What I will tell you is that if you are brought back here on a similar violation, the fine will be substantially more because you are clearly on notice as to all the requirements that have been discussed here today and the findings that have been made and the nature of the fine that you face. So I'm fining you the sum of $3,500. I'm urging you to make sure it doesn't happen again because if you're brought back in here again for a similar accusation or violation, if you will, and you are on notice of all of these matters now, then the fine may be substantially higher. Okay?
Yeah, I understand. This is also, like I said, me and him this is nothing new. We've been back and forth all year, just as well as other attacks on urban establishments. This has nothing to do with what he knows that this is not something that's going on every week. Like I said, this is nothing more than just
I'm going to
attack on the urban
assume it's a
community.
rare occasion.
So we've already took steps to do what we got to do to eradicate this problem because this is not something that's just transpiring with me. It's other urban establishments as well. So yeah, next time you see me, then we'll handle it. But we're probably going to
Well, I
handle
hope
this
next time I
situation.
see you, it's down there on Seabreeze
Yeah.
visiting your
But
establishment.
we probably going to handle this situation before you.
But
see
my
me.
point is,
If you do.
my point is, I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to assume it was a one-time occurrence, and I'm going to assume it's not going to happen again, which is why I did not entertain a $15,000 fine. That having been said, okay, we all live and learn, so good luck to you.
Thank you.
Case number 3, 504 Main Street, DB Incorporated.
Mark, were you part of this as well?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. Oh,
Okay, case number 3, 504 Main Street, DB Incorporated. Looks like we have a couple attorneys here, so if you'll give your names to our secretary, we'll proceed.
Yes, Ron Hertel, Florida bar number 41144. I'm located at 120 South Atlantic Avenue, Ormond Beach, Suite 201.
Jeff Brock, 444 Seabreeze Boulevard, Suite 900, Daytona Beach, Florida.
All right, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine as irreparable and irreversible. So, our inspector, anyway, let's hear from the city first.
Yes, Mr. Kelger, Anthony Jackson, attorney for the city. Mr. Kelger, on yesterday, I received a communication from Mr. Alexander Basinski. Mr. Basinski is an attorney who notified me back in last month, in October, possibly even in September, and informed me that he was counsel representing the respondent. We had some communication, and ultimately we asked for a continuance based on his request, or together we jointly agreed that we would continue the case to this month. On yesterday, I received correspondence from Mr. Basinski telling me there is another attorney from office who would like to appear, but it's not available tomorrow. Would you object to a request to adjourn this to the next calendar date? Mr. Basinski and I spoke, and we ultimately agreed to a date, having notified your offer to make sure that the date was available, and we stipulated to a continuance to November 17th at 2 p.m. Once that was agreed upon, I sent an email to Mr. Basinski, and I also copied Mr. Hurdle. Mr. Hurdle was someone whom I had not had any prior contact with, and I'm showing 243. I sent that email out. Mr. Hurdle had contacted my office sometime on yesterday afternoon for the first time, and indicated he was counsel to the respondent as well, which left me believing he was local or support counsel. And I'm not saying he said that. That's what I believe based upon his what was requested. And I did the follow-up that I intended with Mr. Basinski, which was actually from 2 prior emails he had sent me. I informed Mr. Basinski when we made the agreement that I had heard from Mr. Hertel, and he said, don't worry, I'll let him know about the continuance. Understanding them being the belief that they were in some way or another co-counsel to the respondent. Sometime yesterday, I guess sometime after 6, there was an email from...
Sometime after what?
After 6 on yesterday.
After 6 p.m.?
Yes, there was an email from Mr. Hurdle advising me of... I don't recall specifically, I'd have to pull that up, but ultimately, around about 8 p.m., he informed me that he did not want a continuance, wanted us to go forward. By that time, the city had already, as indicated, had rescheduled with Mr. Basinski.
Are you saying Basinski?
Basinski, Basinski, Alexander Basinski.
Okay.
And so by this time, we had done that rescheduling, notified the two councils as I understood. Got a response from Mr. Basinski saying thank you, and presumed that that was the circumstance, notified our witnesses, and with an anticipation, understanding that this would probably be a lengthy proceeding. We thought it would be beneficial to all parties if we reset it to a special hearing date. And so,
How much time would you reasonably expect it would take to hear this matter based on what the presentation you anticipate?
well over an hour. We expect probably a little less than 2, but well over an hour.
Okay, well, I can tell everybody, I'm not going to make all these folks sit around for an hour while we hear one case.
Now, what's our anticipation, and that was the reason we thought jointly that it would be probably okay to, or a good idea to.
So in
reschedule
any
a
event, what
special
you're
date.
telling me, you, as late as yesterday until 6 p.m., were under the impression you had a stipulation this matter was going to be continued.
That's correct.
And you'd already established a date. Was that agreed to? With?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. What's going on?
Thank you, Judge. Judge, I'm sorry, Magistrate.
It worked.
So I am, Mr. Pasinski is a New York attorney from Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
I am the basically trial counsel for this matter.
Okay.
And apparently there were too many chefs in the kitchen yesterday because our client called us and basically said, we just got notified there's a hearing tomorrow morning. And I said, okay, fine, I'm going straight to code enforcement. And I went to code enforcement and basically asked for a copy of the notice. Mr. Jackson was kind enough to send it in the interim while I was at code enforcement. And I actually met with Mr. Jones and basically said, yes, I'll be ready to go tomorrow. And then I saw, after leaving there, I saw the emails where Mr. Basinski and Mr. Jackson were discussing continuance. And so at that point, I basically emailed back and I said, this hearing is a go. That was, I think, my exact words. This hearing is a go. I'm ready. I was ready for the October time that we were on the calendar before. And my client basically green-lighted it. He's like, if you're ready to go, let's just do it. So with that in mind, I am ready. I'm ready to basically argue the entire matter. I don't think this is necessarily going to turn on any matter of evidence, so I'm not sure how you can bring all the witnesses in the world you'd like. We would probably just attest to, we would agree with the photographs presented. The issue is that this is not a code violation. Simple. So all the witnesses in the world basically saying this is what we saw, and we're going to just
Let me
say,
kind of fast forward this.
Sure.
So how long do you think your share of this presentation would take?
5-10 minutes.
Okay. All right. Mr. Brock, did you want to be heard?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client is actually the owner of the structure. He is the same owner as the funeral home case that we just heard. He resides in Canada, and he asked me, as long as I'm here on the other case, would you find out what's going on in this case? And his comment to me was that the tenant that was in the property had been removed. This email I received yesterday.
Okay. All right. Well, let me, okay. All right. Well, am I to gather from what you're saying that you are still, you're still in favor of the continuance that you and this Mr. Basinski had agreed upon?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And I would say that all representations, and I think even the response from Mr. Hurdle was that I think his initial notification to me was that he represented both owner of the business as well as owner of, he didn't say owner of the building, but he said owner and tenant. So I thought that meant building. And so I didn't even know that Mr. Brock was a part of this. So I would have gladly made sure every attorney knew everything that was going on, and we would have coordinated things like I would normally do.
Okay. And then am I to understand from what you said, you already had a date and time worked out?
Yes.
And when is that? Is that November 17th at 2 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
So that's just, what, another 9 days from now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm granting the city's request for continuance. I understand you tell me it would only take you 5 to 10 minutes, but just in looking at this, and all I'm talking about is the materials I have and the And anyway, I'm told by the city, they have up to an hour's worth of testimony or presentation. And like I said, we usually specially set matters that we think are going to take an extended period of time. So that having been said, did you want to be heard on this continuance to November 17th at 2 p.m.?
Only to the extent that, like I said, if there's just going to be cumulative testimony presented by the city, when we don't contest that what are on the photographs were there, we're merely contesting that there was any violation of code. Chapter and verse is all I'm here to argue.
I understand.
I don't know what an hour of witness presentation is necessary for.
I don't either, and I won't until I start hearing some stuff.
Fair.
Or unless y'all start reciting stipulations to me that you've worked out as far as admissibility of photographs or testimony or whatever it may be, so that you can go straight to arguments. Anyway, we'll figure that. So my point is November 17th at 2 p.m. I'm not hearing you objecting to that.
Whatever pleases.
Okay, then so be it. Then I will continue this matter to November 17th at 2 p.m.
Okay, thank you. And I'll look forward, I'll follow up. I think you've did contact me for a follow-up. I'll give you a call. Let's
Sure,
follow up,
thank you.
Mr. Brock, and see what we can figure out here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good luck, gentlemen. We'll see you on the 17th. Okay, we've only now arrived at case 4. So, Madam Secretary, do we know who may fall into that classification that I talked about?
Nobody.
You know, it might be easier if they want to just stand in line, we'll get to them, rather than creating another layer of work for you. P. Klink. Is there anyone here for the respondent?
Was anyone here? Did you know? Did you notice was anyone who was here? Okay. Right.
Daughter.
You know it's daughter when you see her. You didn't see her. Okay. They didn't make any suggestion to any counsel or anything. They usually don't. Okay. Yeah, right. Just want to get it.
We don't have a respondent. Okay, not seeing a respondent. What say the city?
Good morning, Sarah Kirk, Inspector with the city. Since the last hearing, there's been communication between Mr. Clank's daughter, and Ms. Rose Askew. The city is recommending to amend to the next cutoff to allow time for everything to be put together for these parcels.
All right, noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's presentation, I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 5, 2022 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Now we're going to case 40. Okay. Counselor?
Good morning. For the record, Nika Hosseini with the law firm of Cobb Cole, 231 North Woodland Boulevard in DeLand. I can give you the spelling later if you would like.
All right, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector.
Good morning, John Stenson, Code Inspector with the city. Qualifications on file. Since the last hearing, I've had one email from the property manager there. They have emailed me with quotes for the cost of the repair or the rebuilding of the ramp. There have been no permits to date. As of this morning, there was a permit that was entered on yesterday for the ramp. However, the city is still asking for $100 per day to be kept at 25.
So what am I to understand? There was a permit that was issued this morning?
No, they just made application for the permit
Application.
yesterday. Correct.
And they were first notified in May.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Counselor, what's the problem with this ramp?
Mr. Magistrate, I believe that in May, we had other issues with the pool that we were resolving with code enforcement, and those have been resolved. And now the kind of lasting issue is with this ADA ramp. I believe the pool is currently closed at the moment, and we put out to bid contractors to fix this ramp, and we have done so, and now we are under contract with a contractor to fix the ramp. So within the next 60 days, everything should be fixed and ready to go. So we're asking for a little bit more time until the January cutoff to be able to have the contractor move forward and fix the ramp.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 5, 2022 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 47. Thank you.
Ms. Vakel, just one thing, and we're fine with the outcome. We just wanted to make sure it was clear and understood. These were separate cases, and as far as what's going on with the pool and this sighting, and this is complaint generated, so we really need to see it happen, and that was something we didn't emphasize.
Let me help you out. First off, it's a handicap ramp, and I think these folks are capable of doing more than one thing at a time. So if you're back, you're getting fined.
Understood.
Well, we're all talking plain here.
Yep.
Thank
Good
you.
enough. 47, Vishnu Limited and MMA Shantoshi.
Okay, so better news on this one, progress report.
There we go.
As you know, we have a new owner who are diligently working. If you've passed by there anytime recently at 1000 North Atlantic,
I have.
you'll see that there's, trucks and cars working. 90% of the interior has been demoed already. We pulled a demo permit and we're working on that. We do have a hotel brand, a pretty prominent hotel brand that we're contracted with and working. And so we are working to their specifications. Our goal is to be able to have a grand opening by February 15th of 2023.
Cool. If it happens.
Knock on wood, the only way the owner makes money is to open the hotel, so.
I'm an old guy. That's why I get skeptical. What say the city?
All right, they continue to make progress as they should be, and it looks like they're working towards actually moving on from demo now. The city would like to extend the compliance date to the next cutoff, just to see that those building permits are issued, because I wouldn't be comfortable giving a longer period of time until the building permits are actually issued.
All right, well then I would rather just have council come back on January 11th to give me a progress report. I don't want to establish a compliance date when I know right now. Anyway, I'm uncomfortable trying to establish a compliance date with what information I have at present. So so then we will just continue the determination of a compliance date to our January 11, 2022 meeting.
Perfect.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay, now, am I getting ready to move on to the folks? 27 first. Okay, so let's move on to the folks that we're going to have stipulations regarding. Who would they be?
Okay. We have case number 8.
Okay, Anthony T. Arpino.
Yes.
Yes, sir, if you would please state your name and be sworn.
My name is Eric Kelly with Seabreeze Realty Team. I'm the manager for Mr. Anthony Arpino. for 1529 Ridgewood.
Okay, so you have authority to speak here today on his behalf?
I do.
Do you agree these violations existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
You were sworn?
Nope.
Oh, I'm
Raise your
sorry.
right
Oh,
hand.
sorry.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Do you agree these violations existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
I do.
Mr. Inspector, is the next cutoff satisfactory?
Absolutely.
Are you amenable to coming into compliance by January 5, 2022?
Yes, absolutely.
Therefore, I find the respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck. You're done.
Thank you.
All right, who's next?
Number 9.
Number 9, Heron Development Group Limited. Anyone here for the respondent?
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
Sure. I am Jeffrey Gottfried, President of Heron Development Group.
Raise your right hand.
Oh, sure.
Do you swear to or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Godfrey, do you agree this violation existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
I do not.
You do not. Have a seat. This is for the folks that are in agreement that they're in violation and they're amenable to the next cutoff date. Okay, what's the next one?
Number 12.
Number 12, VJIA LLC. Yes, sir. Would you please state your name and be sworn?
Rakesh Patel.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Yes, sir. What is your affiliation with VJIA LLC?
I'm a president of the company.
You're what now?
President.
Very good. Do you agree this violation existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Yes, sir.
All right, I find the respondent in noncompliance. Mr. Inspector, when would you like the respondent to come into compliance?
The next cutoff.
Okay, the city is suggesting you should be in compliance by January 5, 2022. Are you agreeable to that?
Yes, sir.
All right, then I will order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck to you.
Okay. I got a question with the officer for just 1 second on the side if
You have time to talk to him? Anyway,
Sure. You can go.
what's my next case?
Number 15.
Case number 15, Art League of Daytona Beach Incorporated.
State your name.
Connie Krasowski, President of the Art League of Daytona Beach.
Can you spell your last name, please?
KRZYZOWSKI.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Do you agree these violations existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Yes, sir.
Then I find the respondent in noncompliance. Mr. Inspector, when should the respondent be able to come into compliance?
Inspector Garcia, credentials on file. Next cutoff.
City is suggesting you ought to be able to be in compliance by January 5, 2022. What say you to that?
Yes, sir.
All right, then with that, I will order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Next,
Number 17.
number 17. Christine L. Kokel. You would please state your name and be sworn?
Christine Kokel.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Are we in agreement that this violation existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Sir.
Mr. Inspector, how much time should reasonably be required for the respondent to come into compliance?
Next cutoff, please.
The inspector is suggesting you ought to be able to come into compliance by January 5, 2022. What say you to that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then I will order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022. Pardon?
Find her in noncompliance.
I'm sorry. I find the respondent in noncompliance and will order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. And as I rush to get through these things, if any of you have any questions as to what compliance actually means, or you have any question or any doubts as to what you're supposed to be doing, get in touch with your inspector, and he'll be happy to explain it to you. In any event, Thank you. You're done.
Number 18.
Number 18. Sylvana Skoko and Donald Stiff. All right, Mr. Stiff, if you would please be sworn by our secretary.
State your name.
Donald Stiff.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Do you agree this violation existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Absolutely.
Then I find the respondent in noncompliance. Mr. Inspector, how much time should reasonably be required for the respondent to come into compliance?
Next cutoff, please.
Inspector is suggesting you ought to be able to come into compliance by January 5, 2022. What say you to that?
Will be done.
Very good. And I will order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck.
Thank you.
Number 20.
Number 20, Brenda G. Soderlund.
Brenda Soderlin.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Ms. Soderlund, do we agree this violation existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Yes, sir.
I find the respondent in noncompliance. Mr. Inspector, how much time should it take for the respondent to come into compliance?
Next cutoff, please.
Ms. Soderlund, the city is suggesting you ought to be in compliance by January 5, 2022. What say you to that?
I agree.
All right, then I will order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good
Thank
luck
you.
to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Number 25.
Case number 25, Track 3, LLC.
My name is Rafiq Abu Saif.
Spell it.
The last name Abuseif.
A-B-U-S-E-I-F.
Seif.
First name?
Rafiq, R-A-F-I-K.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
What is your affiliation with Track 3, LLC?
I'm leasing the building.
You're what now?
Leasing the property. Yeah.
All right, do you agree this violation existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Yes, sir.
I find the respondent in noncompliance. Mr. Inspector, how much time should reasonably be required
Next
for the
cutoff,
respondent
please.
to come into compliance? The city seems to think you ought to be in compliance by January 5, 2022. What say you to that?
Yeah, we'll be done.
Very good. I will order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck to you.
Thanks so much.
26.
26, JP Holding Incorporated. Would please
Hello.
state your name and be sworn.
Charlene Waters.
Waters?
Yes. Waters.
Raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Waters, do we agree this violation existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Yes.
I find the respondent in noncompliance. Mr. Inspector, how much time should be required to come into compliance?
Next cutoff, please.
The city is suggesting you ought to be in compliance by January 5, 2022. What say you to that?
Yes, sir.
And I will order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
We have, the rest of them are older cases coming back. Were we still going to go through those?
Older
Or
cases
just
coming
the
back.
New cases.
Like they're here for imposition of a fine.
Right.
So we're done with the folks,
The new
present,
cases.
first-timers
Yeah.
that are in agreement.
Yep.
So then we go back to our agenda. Sounds like a plan. Okay, case number 4, Mary V. Taylor. Anyone here for the respondent?
This is a field-generated case I opened May 25th of '21 for peeling paint, inoperable vehicles, parking issues, outside storage, dirt, grime. First notification was June 1st of '21. I have had contact with the property owner. I re-inspected today. There's been a lot of progress. Staff is requesting a finding of noncompliance with compliance by the next cutoff.
Okay, noting the absence of the respondent, based upon the testimony of our inspector, I find the respondent in non-compliance. In order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Okay, are all you folks from this lady all the way to all over there, are you here for cases? Pardon? Okay, well, you definitely wait for the end, for sure. Sorry about that. What's your case number? Come on up. Oh, I'm sorry, what's your case number? Come on up.
I have them in order. All
You
of
have-
those, yeah, the ones,
So is that what you were trying to tell me earlier?
right,
Okay, all right, well, we're starting with this lady, and then we'll go to your list.
okay.
All right, we're going to get the cobwebs out of here eventually. All right, let's go to case 59.
My name is Nicole Johnson.
These folks all have Christmas shopping to do.
Okay.
Zadok Eagle Bay LLC, failure to maintain dock seawall.
Nicole Johnson.
Nicole Johnson. You're here too with this? No, ma'am. Oh, you're a different case? Okay, are you going to be testifying? What's your name?
Andrew Manning.
Can you just step up to the mic and just say your name?
Sandra Manning.
Raise your right hands. Do you swear to affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Okay, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from the city.
Since the last hearing, contact numerous times with the manager and the contractor. The deck was ripped up. They're waiting for some wood. Pilings are down. He's starting on the seawall next week. City's recommending amend to next cutoff. Guaranteed to be done in January.
So the work that's been done to date is what, running behind?
He's running behind because he's short on wood, and said also that he was doing another job, but like
Okay.
I said, you can see he's got the pilings down, and
All right, so our
Where's the seawall?
inspector is proposing to extend your cutoff till January 5, 2022. I assume you don't have any objection to that.
No, sir.
All right, you wanted to be heard.
This problem has been going on for almost 17 months. It's very dangerous. It has gotten worse and worse. The hole is approximately 10 foot long and 6 foot deep. My granddaughter almost fell in it. And the hole wasn't filled with any kind of dirt, although the dirt has been sitting there for almost a year. I've been told that I would have to move, don't go back there, etc. And it was filled in finally with the dirt last Wednesday. The storm we had last Friday pretty much washed it out again. So I'm hoping that by January this is fixed. It's very dangerous.
Well, I would suggest you notify your inspector, who's standing right there, of your concerns
I
with the
have.
with the work.
Yes, sir.
And I assume he'll take that into consideration when he's conducting any kind of a final inspection. And so I would certainly hope that all this would be rectified to your satisfaction.
Thank you.
If not, come on back and let's talk some more.
Mr. Magistrate, the city has to amend our request because one of the critical issues with this is that the pipes that are in that hole remain covered. They can't be exposed to sunlight. So if that hole was washed out this weekend and any of those pipes are exposed, we need those pipes to be covered immediately.
Thank you.
They are covered.
Okay.
They are. And the storm that came through Friday, it washed out about 6 inches, and the guys have filled it.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, we all,
Filled as of this morning.
all right. Well,
Pictures.
The inspector will go by.
Yeah, I'll go by
take-
today.
Re-inspect.
sounds like everybody's on it. I don't know what more you can do
Yes, sir.
except have faith. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think I made an order.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's
All
weird.
right, then we're amending our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 5, 2022 to come into compliance or be returned to the magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Okay, now I'm going to sit here silently and wait for Kim to tell me where I'm going next.
Before we do that, Mr. Kelch, I think there may have been a little bit of confusion on where we go, because if we're going on a list of the people here, then we're going into the old case, the fine cases, then we're skipping the ones who wanted to contest that were part of the.
All right, the gentleman back there in case number 12, is he on your list?
He's number 9.
Number 9.
Yeah.
Is he on your list?
He's in order, yeah.
Okay,
He was-
all right, well,
Oh, well, I'll leave you alone.
Yeah, because, well, no, he's one of the order of the new cases. He's one of the new cases.
That we went ahead and passed.
Right.
So we won't come back to him until we finish that list, if we continue the way we're going right now.
Yeah, if we go through all the imposed fine ones. Go back to the agenda. I say we go to number 6.
It's not that many people. I think we'll figure it out.
We have 1, 2, we have 3 cases.
you have your cases in numerical order.
Mhm.
What's the next case you would have?
Here, let me show you what we did.
Just call what the next one you have written down is.
We made him sit back. He was going to argue.
Right.
One of the new cases.
But he was pretty far up,
He's case number 9.
okay, where's your list?
This one is what's left and the people who are sitting here. There's
Okay.
him, and then case number 35.
Then we'll do him.
And
We'll do him,
then you want
and then we'll resume that. All right, let's hear case number 9.
Morning again, Your Honor.
Good morning. Mr. Disagreeable.
I think I feel like I'm talking to my wife.
I tried bludgeoning you into agreement, but that didn't work. Okay, Heron Development Group LTD.
Yes, sir.
Has our respondent been sworn?
No. Raise your right hand.
Hi,
Your name, Jeff.
Jeffrey Godfrey.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, as I recall where we left off, you were disputing whether you were in compliance or not.
Correct, sir.
Okay, that having been said, let's hear from our inspector.
Inspector Garcia, credentials on file with City of Daytona Beach. This case was opened on March 30th, 2021 as a police complaint for overgrown grass and weeds, trash and debris. Notice was signed on April 2nd, 2021. Compliance deadline was April 14, 2021. The last day I re-inspected was November 3rd, 2021. Result of my reinspection finding a non-compliance, and I have contact with the, actually it was with the lawn service people who I've been dealing with. I was out there, I believe it was yesterday was my last day, and it looks like they made a lot of progress, and don't have much more to go.
Okay, what say Mr. Gottfried? Well, first off, how current, oh,
That one right there, I believe it was this morning?
that photograph I'm looking at right now?
Yes.
With the
And
debris I'm seeing?
What are we looking at? What area, it's a 2-acre property, what are we looking at, please?
Well, right now, we're looking at as you coming off of Orange, going north down to the fence line, which is what they had to do, was clear that fence line on the inside. On the other side, on the south side, is the cities.
When was that taken?
That was taken this morning.
I was taking.
I'm sorry, yesterday.
Okay. Can I speak?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is the first I've heard of any type of matter against this property with regards to this hearing today, was when my attorneys received this notice of a hearing last week, or whenever they received it. It was sometime this month. It states here that the notice of first notification, date of first notification was on April the 2nd, which we never received. Doesn't matter. Point is that we have a lawn service that's manicuring the property. I have pictures here that were taken in early October of the property. showing it's clean. I mean, we have millions of dollars invested in this 2 acres. It's supposed to be a development for affordable housing. We came from out of the area to upgrade MLK Junior Boulevard. And if there's any trash on this property, I've authorized him to remove it. I didn't see any, but he told me that he cleans it up, and then in the back of the property where we took down those buildings on Baldwin Lane, occasionally people will use it and put that type of material back there. I mean, I don't know how you're going to stop this. I mean, it's way in the back, and every time he's there, he cleans it up, and new people bring it back. There's just, we do it, we manicure the property, we keep the property up, we took down the buildings in the area. The property is clean. We're trying to get an affordable housing project built there. And if you're going to have people just throw tires or old paint cans back there where it's out of view, he's there and he cleans up when he's there. I mean, that picture you showed before must have been right before he cut the lawn, because I'm happy to show you these pictures. I mean, these are current pictures taken this month. I mean, we do our best job to keep it updated.
I understand. I find the respondent in non-compliance. When should the respondent come into compliance?
Next cutoff.
All right, he's suggesting you need to come into compliance by January 5, 2022. I know this sounds like a very silly conversation.
It is.
And I understand. I've been here for a while.
Yeah.
And I understand that sometimes it's tough to keep vacant lots current because neighbors sometimes trash them. So don't lose any sleep over that. So in any event, it's just a matter of having your lawn service give this man a call when they're ready for him to come out, and so he can look at it and say, yep, it's been cleaned up.
Can he return a call? I've tried to reach him about 3 or 4 times this week. And he doesn't
There he is right now.
phone
Ask him
calls.
when he wants to do his inspection, for all I care.
Yep.
But
I'll give you my number and everything outside.
okay.
I have your number. I called you. I left you a message. I texted you. I called you.
You text me?
Yeah, and I called you the office many times.
In either sense, we're well over almost 70 cases, so it should be understandable these guys are in the field, so in any sense.
I mean, I respect your time. I respect his time, but I drove from South Florida today. Please respect mine as well. That's all. Millions of dollars invested in this community. I respect the community, and we uphold this thing. And I respect your order, and we'll be in compliance.
All right. Mr. Inspector, would you please do me a favor, and just when you get an opportunity, it sounds like he's giving you permission to go walk around the property if need be, and satisfy yourself that he's in compliance.
I will.
With that, a notice of compliance will be put in the file, and that'll be the end of it.
Thank you.
And should you ever be called back up here for a repeat occurrence, I am particularly sensitive to the property owners and developers in this area that sometimes have vacant lots that their neighbors trash. It's not an uncommon occurrence here. So in any event, do what you're doing. Good luck to you.
I appreciate your time. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, where am I going now, Kim?
35.
Case number 35. Yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
Sure.
State your name.
Khalid Amir. I'm
Do
sorry.
you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the
I
truth?
swear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, we are here for imposition of a fine. So let's hear from the city.
This is for imposition of a fine, Mr. Amir. Sorry, the last time we were here, the trash and debris has been taken care of, the discolored fascia. The only thing that's left as of right now is the permit issue with the city. The window permit was issued. The concrete is under review. It has not been finalized. So as such, we wish to amend this to the next cutoff, please.
Okay. Mr. Amir, the city is telling me that you've got things in the works right now. You're going to need more time. He's proposing to extend your cutoff till January 5, 2022. What say you to that?
I don't think that there's a set cutoff date
Yeah,
in
there
this
was.
case.
Sorry.
So we would set it.
Oh, okay.
the
Set a
next-
compliance
The
date.
compliance date, sorry.
All right. Well, the city is proposing you ought to be done with this by January 5, 2022.
Who's the permit?
All right. Then I will order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck to you.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
46.
Case number 46.
State your name.
Kevin Christ.
And say your last
Christ,
name.
C-R-I-S-T.
Raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Inspector Kevin Yates, Neighborhood Services. My credentials are on file. Since the last hearing, they have continued to make progress on the repairs, and they continue to move forward. So I would like to go ahead and extend the cutoff to January, or extend compliance to the January cutoff, excuse me.
Okay. Well, Mr. Christ, the city is proposing that you ought to be in compliance by January 5, 2022. What say you to that?
I agree. That should be no problem.
Okay.
Mr. Magistrate, there's a note here that there were some life safety issues that were supposed to be addressed within 15 days. I just don't know if those were.
Yes, those were addressed well within the deadline.
Okay. All right, then I will order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Next.
56.
Case number 56. 555 Seabreeze, LLC.
State your name.
Peter Germanis.
56. Peter, spell your last name.
Germanis, D-R-Y-M-O-N-I-S.
Raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector first.
Yes, sir. Numerous times contact with the general manager, Mr. Todd. Since the last hearing, we had progress. Dirt and grime's been removed, trash and debris, but the property still doesn't have any enclosures on the dumpster, and also that storage container needs to be removed. So the city, since this has been going on since May, is recommending a $200 a day fine capped to $20,000. No permits have been issued at all yet.
Okay, Mr. Dramonis, what's the problem with enclosing the dumpster?
Getting someone to come out and do the work. We've contacted fence companies. I think I'm close now. I can get it done probably within the next month, as long as these guys deliver on their promises. As far as the permit for the refrigerator trailer, it's not refrigerator, it's just simply a pod. And we went to the permitting office about 3 weeks ago. I think we spoke to you about that. And they said that we didn't need a permit. Apparently that was a miscommunication on their part. We spoke to Officer Cligg, and he stated because it's there for over.
If it's more than 28 days, is the max in a calendar year, so.
So that
you
just
got to
got
remove
conveyed
it.
to us yesterday or the day before, so I'll go pull that permit today, tomorrow, so.
So what, he gets a permit to keep it there for more
No,
than
there's
28?
no permit could be issued other than 28 days. He doesn't need a permit, and it's only 28 days in the calendar year. They won't permit that as a structure.
So it has to be removed.
It has to be
So
removed.
it has to be removed, okay, that wasn't clear to me either. But what the plan is there is actually I'm building a permanent storage facility that we will get permitted. It's on back order. We ordered it probably about 4 months ago. And that's why the temporary storage is there now. As soon as that permanent goes in, the temporary is going away.
So you're confusing me. As soon as
I'm
what
confused
permit
myself.
goes in?
Say that again, sir?
Okay, so the storage thing needs to be removed.
To go, yep.
You have ordered a replacement storage something or other.
Well, in the violation, I was under the impression that it needed to be permitted because it didn't say removal. It says permit for refrigerator trailer. So that wasn't exactly clear to us. I went to go pull the permit about 3 weeks ago. They told me I didn't need a permit. Spoke with Officer Cligg a couple days ago, and that's when he informed me about the 28-day rule, which I wasn't sure because that wasn't listed in this violation. That's clear to me now. I can make moves to
So
make that happen.
the two things that remain out of this notice of violation were the dumpster enclosure and the removal of that
Yes,
storage thing.
yes. And it's been since May, no permit's been issued or applied for, so nothing's been done.
Okay. And you have ordered what?
I've ordered a permanent storage facility, an aluminum thing that we're
Okay.
gonna get permitted through the city. We're not there yet. I gotta get a concrete slab poured. I'm trying to pull the permit for that currently.
Where are you on that process?
I'm close there. I got a quote yesterday for the concrete slab.
Okay, have you submitted a permit application?
No, I plan on doing all that this week because I'm just now getting up to date. The general manager that he spoke to unexpectedly resigned due to health reasons 6 weeks ago. So I'm kind of picking up where he left off.
So so you haven't hired a contractor yet? Like it sounded like you said you had bid out for contractors?
For the
slab?
fencing on the dumpster, or
The slab you were just referencing and the storage facility?
I have not hired. I got a quote yesterday from a contractor.
Typically, that's who would pull the permit in that case, Mr. Magistrate.
But I asked them that, and they told me that the property owner needs to pull it. I'm a little, what needs to be done there?
It depends on the contract you write with the contractor, but typically most contractors will do it themselves. It'll be part of your contract with them.
Okay.
But that's something that you work out with the contractor. You could work it out either way.
Okay.
But the identifying somebody to do the work would be the first step, and then they would give you a timeline, and a timeline would allow us to be able to extend some kind of date out here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And just some clarification, Mr. Vakelja. If I understood this gentleman right, I think there may be a little bit of confusion still. I'm presuming we were asking for a permitted because we thought it was a refrigerated trailer. He says, understood it to be a pod. As a pod, it's not something that's be permitted.
Right.
But if understanding him right, I think he's saying he wants to leave that there until he has permitted his new structure.
I mean,
and I don't think that's what we want.
Ideally, I would like to leave it, but I can make moves to remove it until the permanent comes in too. I didn't know it had to be removed until today, to be honest with you. I thought it just had to be permitted.
When do you expect this replacement structure?
That's a great question. As soon as I can get the permit for the slab, I can, I mean, it's back ordered. I don't have an answer for you, to be honest with you. I don't. That's kind of out of my control.
Mr. Magistrate, if we can, because I think there's some confusion here, and we've had a lot of problems with this back lot, and they've actually made a lot of progress in the last probably 3 months. They've done a lot of cleanup of the landscape, and you can see they've filled in a lot of the rock and cleaned up a lot of the issues that we've had going on back here. I think we would amend our request to give them to the next cutoff, and that we will meet with them and get them pointed to right where they need to go so that we can get this back on track. So when we come back here in January, we give you a clear deadline on when we think this will be done. If that's amenable to you, of course.
That would be very helpful, and I appreciate that.
Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't understand why we're still talking about the enclosure for the dumpster. That part, I don't understand at all.
You're right, and that's kind
This
of
gentleman over here is being very gracious to you.
understood.
I'm wrestling with your, whatever that thing was called. It's not a refrigerated trailer. I guess it's just a trailer. But I can see where you're getting jammed up there. Anyway, all that having been said, I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 5, 2022 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. I don't know whether you're going to be able to pull this off or not, but I would certainly expect that enclosure around that dumpster to be a moot point come January 5.
That will be done. That part I can speak to will be done.
Good luck to you. Stay in touch with your inspector.
Will do.
Let him know what
Thank
you're
you.
dealing with.
Thank you.
57.
Case number 57, MMI Daytona LLC.
State your name.
Yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
Victor Ingram.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, this matter is here for the imposition of fines, so let's hear from the city.
Yes, sir. Since the last hearing, I have had no contact with the owner, no progress. Went by there yesterday. There was a bunch of trash on the side of the house, front of the house. Excuse me. City is recommending a $200 a day fine capped at $15,000.
What say the respondent?
I went by there also, and there has been some progress. This is a tenant that lives there, and I've been working with them trying to get them to do the right thing. Their rent is paid through the state, and it's just been a problem working with them, but they have started cleaning up. I went by there by myself yesterday and looked at it. I had the building pressure cleaned. The only thing left now to do on my end would be to paint the building, and I'm scheduling with painters to do that. They were supposed to come out last week, but it rained. But that's where we're at with it now.
So what are you telling me is left to be done? Just the painting?
It's the painting. They removed a lot of debris. We cut limbs and stuff in the backyard and cleaned all that up. Again, like I said, I'm constantly on these tenants to be clean and move debris. Went by personally and threw a lot of stuff at the trash myself. What's left now is to get the building painted, and I'm willing to do that.
Are you going to be able to do that?
Yes.
Okay, because unfortunately, the tenants are your headache, not ours. Of course, I know you know that already. So you're telling me the outside storage has been removed?
Yes, there's no outside storage there anymore.
Okay. And as far as the exterior goes, all it's left to do is paint it.
Yes, that's all that's left to do. Pressure cleaned, and it's just painting.
When was the last time you were by the property?
Yesterday, there's a picture of there. There's like a dilapidated boat. There's tires, and there's a debris on the side right there.
Right. That might have just been put there, but it wasn't there when I was there.
And then the front of the house is a stack of trash that's probably 5 feet high.
I do think that's an old picture there. Are you sure?
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do.
The picture, Inspector, if you could just look at the pictures dated August 17th.
Oh, okay, I thought I dropped the one from yesterday. But in the front driveway, there was same thing on the side, and then the front driveway had trash and debris still, mattress and so forth.
Well,
about 5 o'clock yesterday.
So the two topics we're dealing with here are outside storage and painting?
Yeah, dirt and grime, yep.
All right, I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent till January 5, 22 to come into compliance on the painting. I'm going to order that the outside storage be rectified within 7 days of today. Failing that, a fine in the amount of $100 per day will go into effect and will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the outside storage is brought into compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. So you're telling me it's all cleaned up? I'll take your word, and I'll give you another 7 days to guarantee, if you have to get out there and tell your tenants, you get to do whatever you have to do. I can't tell you what to do with your tenants. So within 7 days, make sure all the outside storage is gone, or there will be a fine going into effect. And you've got until January 5, 22 to get it painted.
Okay.
All right?
All right, fair.
Good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
Where am I going next?
Number 67.
Number 67. '67, Royal Investment Properties, LLC. Good morning.
My name is Margot Darnell.
67. Margot.
Darnell. A-R-N-L-L.
Raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right, this matter is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector.
Inspector Garcia, credentials on file. Since the last hearing, I have had contact with the owner, and no progress has been made. Staff's requesting a fine of $250 a day, capped at $15,000. These are updated pictures.
All right, this is what, an overgrown lot?
Yeah.
The corner, yeah, corner lot.
Overgrown vacant lot,
Yeah.
North Grandview Avenue. What say the respondent? The city wants me to fine you $250 a day. What's the problem? Why haven't we taken care of this overgrown lot?
Yes, I can find somebody cut the grass. I hired somebody, but never go. But now I am carrying the lot. I have. This is for today, for this morning.
What are you showing me?
Is that the lot?
Yeah, I haven't seen that this morning.
Yes, it's just now. It's
Just cut it
taken
now?
down. Yeah, you can go to see, and I promise I will do every week. Will be very clear.
So what you're telling me is the property is now in compliance?
Yes, I don't care that,
Okay.
but I will do.
All right, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to do what I just did. I'm going to give you 7 days to make sure it's in compliance. Failing that, a fine in the amount of $100 per day will go into effect and continue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000.
Okay.
So, you tell me you're in compliance, great. This gentleman,
Just to be clear, the right-of-way needs to be cut, and the sidewalks need to be edged. We don't want grass growing in between.
Yeah, I mean, from what he was showing in that picture, that's part of the
Correct.
problem. The grass is overtaking the sidewalk.
Correct.
It's almost eliminated the sidewalk in that area.
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah.
please do, or else the fine will automatically go into effect.
I know, I will.
All right, good luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Number 37.
Number 37.
And this one's there. Thank you, sir.
Oh, you got one. Go to number 37.
Case number 7, Rosalind
No,
Page.
37.
37.
Number 37. Sorry.
Isn't that what I said? 37, Rosalind Page.
I thought you said 7.
I've succeeded in confusing everyone in the building today.
Yep.
Yes,
State
sir.
your
if
name.
you-
My name's Peter Blunt.
Peter what?
Blunt, B-L-O-U-N-T.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
What's your affiliation with Rosalind Page?
Son-in-law.
Pardon?
Son-in-law.
Very good. All right, this matter's here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector.
Good morning, Inspector Roosevelt Butler, credentials on file with the City of Daytona Beach. As it pertains to 555 Oak Street, since the last court proceedings, I've received an email correspondence on 11/4/2021 from the property owner regarding a roofing contract and a down payment for paving the parking lot. From a review of the system, there hasn't been any documentation for a site plan nor a permit to pave the lot or the roof. Staff requests $100 a day up to $20,000.
What say Mr. Blunt?
I say that I contracted with a roofing company, J&M Roofing Company, on the 28th of November, and also with Metro
Did I hear you say the 28th of November?
of October.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah, and also with an asphalt company, Metro Asphalt. For both of them, I put a deposit down and signed a contract for them to do both jobs.
Okay.
I think
And how long do they tell you it's going to take to do the work?
I just got an email, last week, got email today that said within the next 2 weeks, they should start the jobs.
And do you know when they expect to be completed?
I do not know when they're going to be completed. I know they just said they'll start within the next 2 weeks.
Okay, well, I would urge you to have these contractors contact the city, because I'm sure they're going to have to obtain permits, because what the inspector's telling us is right now, if I heard what you're saying, you haven't heard from anybody.
There's no documentation of, he needs a site plan for the parking lot and a permit, not in place. Also,
And
he
you're
needs a
telling me
permit for
you've
that roof.
executed contracts and given
They're-
deposits to these
Yeah,
people.
they're here. The
I'm
contract.
taking your word for it.
I have them, they're here.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
I think there might be some confusion. I mean, that site plan process involves an application process to the city. You have to establish that site plan. So doing work before establishing that site plan for a commercial property like this, it's not going to, you might have to be doing work that they then make you correct. So you should go down and apply for that site plan and establish a site plan for the property so that you know what work is expected of you.
So I do that?
Yes, that would be something you would need to do for your property.
where does he go to do that?
That would be, it would be through planning, correct? Yeah, it's through planning, the planning department. Yeah. It's very similar to the TRT process that we mentioned in the other previous cases.
In other words, it's not just a simple matter of hiring a roofer and a paving contractor. If this is a commercial property, it sounds as though you've got additional requirements. And from the look on your face, I guess you're learning of this right now as we speak.
Yeah, I just remember having the secure contract, and I was thinking they were going to go and pull the permit and start the work.
Yeah, well, you would think so, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, you sometimes you need to babysit some of these contractors and make sure they do things they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But it sounds as though you as the owner might have things to do as well. All right, in any event, have I entered an order yet on this?
No.
I'm amending our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent till January 5, 2022 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. You need to start talking to some people at the city about what you need to do to make sure all the paperwork's done. So it's not just a matter of hiring a couple contractors. And then you need to babysit your contractors and make sure they follow through on permit applications and things of that nature. Okay?
Okay.
Good luck to you.
Manager Sykes is going to speak to you afterwards just to try to make sure we get you pointed in the right direction. Manager Sykes right here. He's going to help you.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you.
Where to now?
Number 45.
Number 45. John and Triana Dutra and Marissa Kitson.
Mike Bretzel, real estate broker with Professional Property Management.
Spell your last name.
Bretzel.
Raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
This matter is here for the imposition of a fine, 5-day life safety issues. What say the inspector?
The 5-day safety issues were corrected in time. The other violations, there's been a lot of progress. There was even more progress over the weekend. Mr. Bretzel feels one more week and the permits will be finalized. So with that being said, staff's recommending to amend to the next cutoff for compliance.
Okay, the next cutoff's January 5th, 2022. I assume you don't have any objection with that?
No problem.
Okay. I will amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 5, 2022 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Back to where we left.
Back to where we
think
left off.
I think Inspector Kirk only has one more case. Could we maybe
Sure.
call her last
Thank you.
Which case is that?
That would be,
Case number 43, is that correct?
yes, Lock and Cop, Inc.
Case number 43, Lock and Cop Incorporated. Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
Since the last hearing, I've had no contact. There's been a little bit of progress. Some vehicles have been moved, but other than that, it's still a non-compliance. Staff is requesting a $100 a day fine to a max of $15,000.
Okay, noting the absence of the respondent based upon our inspector's testimony, I am fining the respondent the sum of $100 per day commencing November 4, 2021, and continuing each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. That it?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, ma'am, are you the only humanoid we have left out there that doesn't work for the city of Daytona Beach?
That's the lien review.
2 people, and they're both lien reviews?
We have somebody here for case 6 as well.
Case 6? All right, well, and do we have one lien review over there or more than one? Okay, case 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. VIP Ventures, LLC. Yes, ma'am, if you would please state your name and be sworn.
Crystal Anderson.
Chris,
Crystal Anderson.
spell your last name.
Anderson.
Anderson. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
And your affiliation with VIP Ventures.
I'm the owner.
You agree these violations existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Yes.
I find the respondent in noncompliance. Mr. Inspector, how much time should reasonably be required for the respondent to come into compliance?
I believe they can correct it by the January cutoff.
City seems to think you ought to be able to take whatever corrective action is necessary by January 25, 2022. What say you to that?
Thank you. We corrected it today, so everything will be ready for inspection for this
Very
week.
good. Don't forget to call for that inspection.
Yes, absolutely.
I will order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter.
Thank
Good luck to you.
Have a good day.
You too. All right, lien review, folks. Come on up.
Lien review 3.
$299 Morningside Avenue.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can't get any further back in the book than you folks are.
Wow, that's old.
Yeah.
None of that pertains to me. That's the previous owner.
Okay, I've read your lien request. So, tell me you got some extenuating circumstances for me to take into consideration,
Okay,
given the relief that you're looking for.
I purchased the property by tax deed sale on December 1st, 2020. I've been speaking with June Barnes from the city. The amount that I paid for the property should have satisfied all of the Daytona liens. However, Port Orange had put in a lien on this same person who used to own it on another property that went tax deed sale. But that property claimed the excess funds that would have covered this. So I mowed the lawn the day I purchased it. It's been maintained. This was not me. I thought I had paid enough to satisfy the liens.
You said you spoke to June Barnes about something?
So because I paid $38,000 more than what was owed on taxes, that money was to satisfy liens that had been imposed on this person. I tried to buy her property in 2015 before they bulldozed it. I'd been watching this property for years, sending her letters, trying to buy it. I renovated the property across the street. June Barnes it takes a while for the taxes, the liens to be satisfied. They had to wait till April for all people with a claim on a lien to submit it. June Barnes told me that she thought it was all going to be covered, but Port Orange had a property going for tax deed sale, and they claimed some of the funds. So there's still a remainder.
So how much money had you actually paid?
$80,000, over $80,000.
Well, how much did you pay thinking you were satisfying this lien?
$38,000.
Okay, well, the amount of this lien is $15,000.
Correct. There was a demo lien. There was $38,000 in liens on this property.
So did any of the money you paid go to the city of Daytona Beach at all?
All of it. All of it except the $2,100.
What's $2,100?
I mean, $2,142. There's only a balance of $2,100. All the rest of the liens, the $15,000, which was peeling paint, was paid. The demo lien, which was $25,000, that was paid when they demoed the property. So there was peeling paint, there was lawn maintenance. All of those liens have been paid except for $2,100.
Okay.
Yeah, the outstanding lien, remaining outstanding lien was $2,142.37. And as she said, and while we keep saying the tax deed paid for it, I mean, we still have to request the excess proceeds, but there were enough excess proceeds to take care of a demo lien that was owed to the city, as well as where I guess the city actually brought the property into compliance, as well as code enforcement liens, but it didn't pay the code enforcement liens in full. We didn't have the authority to make any kind of administrative decisions, and that's why it's before you for a
What was the demo lien? For how much?
$25,000.
So you already paid a $25,000 lien on this
$25,000
property?
for the demo. $13,000 was applied, so of the 38, 13 was applied to the maintenance and.
I just don't, and I'm sorry, I just don't want it misunderstood, Mr. Vicalja, in that she didn't pay to the lien. She paid for whatever her efforts were to obtain a property through tax deed. But the proceeds were enough to cover our liens, at least that's what she thought. But there were other liens because of the cross encumbrance of code liens in other jurisdictions that were also encumbering the property, and that's what took some of the money.
Let me try it this way. After this lady paid her money, how much of it did the city of Daytona Beach get?
It appears that we got a whole lot.
Okay, I'm waiving this lien.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
And
And by the way, your lot is at the end of the street that I grew up on. I'm not going to tell you where I grew up on because never mind, I'm not going to tell you where I grew up.
Oh, so I renovated 301 Morningside. I tried to buy this. I love it. The neighbor, I mowed the lawn the next day, and she said, oh my God, I'm so glad you're my neighbor. And then I sent her the thing, said, is the grass low enough for you?
When I was a kid, I used to sneak around all the little trails those people had. It was the coolest outside.
So did, and we wanted
landscape
it.
thing.
We wanted it before, from the Becks. We
Yeah.
wanted it before they bulldozed it.
I thought I was horrified when it got bulldozed.
I was horrified. We were horrified. We used to, when we were doing 301, we'd walk over there Yes, we were horrified.
I mean, they had those little, like,
Tile paths,
tile paths
walkers.
all through the palmettos. I used to sneak up there and the people were outside and they didn't even know I was there.
Yeah, trying to think, Dawn, there was a girl named Dawn, can't think of her last name, she lived right around the corner, she did the same thing, cutting through to school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
yes,
right.
devastating.
All right, well, good luck to you and
Thank you
welcome
very
to the
much.
neighborhood.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Vikelja, I know we've emptied the room out here, but we do have a couple people that are on Zoom. Did you want to knock them out real quick? Or
Sure.
do you want to just, okay.
I'm pretty much just being led around by my nose today anyway.
I
so
know, we're all over the
that's-
place.
As long as we touch all the bases, that's all that matters.
I think that brings us to case 32 then. Is that
Okay,
where you're
case
at? Or is
32.
there one before that, Kim?
Number 27, I
Okay.
believe.
Okay.
So I'm going to 27.
She says 27. I trust her.
27 should have a Zoom.
Okay, case 27, Surfside Villas, COA Incorporated. Okay, we all ready?
Yes.
Okay, who do we have for the respondent?
Hi, we have Eileen Celio. I am the administrator for Surfside Villas Condominium Association, located at 101 North Peninsula Drive, Daytona Beach, 32118.
Okay, I'm sorry, your last name again?
Celio, it is spelled S like Samantha, I-L-I-O.
All right. If you would please, are you an attorney?
No, sir.
Okay,
I'm a
well, if
real-
you would please be sworn by our secretary, then we'll proceed.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
And who's the other person we have present?
The other person is Aurelis Elgasaba, and she is the financial controller.
Will she be speaking during this hearing?
No, she's just observing.
Okay, very good. All right, Ms. Cilio, do you agree this violation existed or occurred as stated in the notice of violation?
Yes, we do.
All right, then I find the respondent in noncompliance. Mr. Inspector, how much time should reasonably be required for the respondent to come into compliance?
Next cutoff, please.
Our inspector seems to think that you ought to be able to come into compliance by January 5, 2022. What say you to that?
I would like to state that one of the delays that we are experiencing is, for example, the gate vendor is letting us know that there is a back order on steel. So we are going to do our best to be in compliance by the next cutoff date, but that is something that we are facing a challenge with.
Okay, forgive me. If anyone heard her better than I did, could they explain what she said to me?
I could not make out most of it. Can you mute the other individual who's listening in? Can you mute your microphone? I think it's causing some feedback.
Okay, Ms. Cilio, I would ask you if you could please just repeat what you said because we had a little trouble hearing you.
Okay, absolutely. My apologies.
That's much better.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to restate. One of the challenges that we are facing is one of the items is that we have to repair the gate. We have selected already a vendor to make this repair. However, he is letting us know that there is a back order on steel. So we will do our best to comply by the next cutoff date. However, that is a challenge that we are facing that is beyond our control.
I understand. We'll go ahead and establish a compliance date. And if it appears as though you're not going to be able to meet that due to circumstances beyond your control, stay in touch with your inspector, notify him of that, and we will certainly keep that in mind.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, very good. Then I will order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, folks, where am I going now?
Number 32.
Case number 32, DB 153 Corporation.
Hello, did I hear DB 153 Court?
Yes, sir. You here on behalf of DB 153?
Yes, sir, and thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. If you would please state your name and be sworn by our secretary.
Alan Filgueiras.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I swear.
Thank you.
What is your affiliation with DB 153?
I am the property manager that got hired on November 1st, just a few days ago. On November 3rd at 3 p.m., I received this notice of violation, which was due on November 4th, November 3rd at 4 p.m. I had 1 hour from the time I received the notice to the expiration on November 3rd. I called the inspector, Mr. John. He was very nice on the phone, explained the issue. I hunted after a landscaper. I hired one. I have pictures and the receipt right now that I can forward it to you guys, and I did forward to Kim earlier this morning. Everything was taken care and the grass was cut and everything was cleaned to this property and to the one across the street, which is the same owner. Everything was done on Sunday, last Sunday. And that's it.
Okay. All right, Mr. Inspector, I assume you haven't had an opportunity to inspect it yet.
Not since Saturday, no, sir.
Not since Saturday, and our respondent is telling me he thinks he may be in compliance now. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance until the next cutoff, which is January 5, 2022, for the respondent to be in compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. All right, what I've done is I've extended your compliance date till January 5th. I understand you tell me you think the property's in compliance. If I were you, I would double check to make sure that that is the case, and then I would call my inspector and ask him to do an inspection. And if he's in agreement that everything is in compliance, he'll put a notice of compliance in the file, and that'll be the end of it.
Question.
All right?
Question, please.
Yes, sir.
Once he puts a notice of compliance and he notifies me that I am in compliance, do I still need to be available on November 5th, or that's dismissed?
You're done. Once
I'm
you have
done.
a notice of compliance from our inspector, you're done.
I appreciate that.
Very good.
What kind of documentation do I have for today that I did this and I have until January 5th?
We lost me.
When we do the order, he'll get notified.
Yeah.
When we do the order, we'll do another order that'll be forwarded to you.
Okay, very well. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
I appreciate it. Goodbye.
Where to next?
Zoom. Is there another Zoom? Yep. Number 49.
29?
49.
49. Americano Beach Resort Association. Do I have anyone? Do I have a respondent?
Hi, good morning, Mr. Magistrate. This is Kate Saft. I'm the attorney for the management company at the property, CFI Resorts Management, Inc.
And your last name again?
Saft, S as in Sam, A as in Apple, F as in Frank, T as in Tom.
All right, I have another lady online. Is she going to be testifying?
Only if needed. I have Catherine Vaughn, Esquire. She is the attorney for the respondent, which is the Americano Beach Resort Association as it's listed. But the entity name is actually Americano Beach Lodge Resort Condominium Association, Inc. And I also have Brian Smith with me, who works for the management company, who has knowledge of the violations and the actions that are being taken to remediate them.
All right, well, I don't need to swear any of the attorneys, but if you have any laymen, so to speak, who you think are going to be testifying, they will need to be sworn.
Okay, Brian, are you there, Brian?
He's muted.
They just let him in, so give us just 1 second.
Clarify maybe the other attorney's name, Catherine Vaughn.
Okay.
Didn't hear it.
He just needs to unmute his mic and turn it on his camera.
I'll text him, but we can proceed. I don't really think we need him. He's just here if you have questions about what's being done.
All right, very good. This is here for the imposition of a fine, so let's hear from our inspector.
All right, since the last hearing, we have had no visible progress on the site. We have had contact with the ownership, who says that they've engaged multiple contractors and gotten estimates for the repairs. Unfortunately, we did request those, but we haven't seen those yet. So given the no progress, we'd like to ask for a fine of $500 a day to a maximum of $110,000.
And I'd just like to clarify that we've had no contact with anybody in this case until, I believe, yesterday. And that's when they finally contacted us and engaged us. And is that accurate?
No, it was the week before.
The week before?
Yes.
Okay. So up until just a week before is when we finally had any contact with anybody. And they have not provided any documentation of what kind of progress we're making or any contracts as far as what work is being done or what timelines will be established.
Doesn't sound good, Ms. Saft. What do you got to say?
Okay, so I filed a request, actually filed a motion because we didn't know anything about this. We never received any notices of the prior hearings. When I did find out about the hearing today, last week, I immediately called Inspector Yates. I requested the case file, which we received. We found there was notices, but they were not sent to the correct address. And we filed in our motion, we attached the notices. We also attached the Sunbiz filing for the association name, showing the correct address and the registered agent. The registered agent is Catherine Vaughn. She's here today as the attorney for the association. She was not on the notice list, and the PO box to where the notices were sent is not correct based upon Sunbiz and the filings for the association entity. And actually, the entity name is incorrect as well. So as soon as we found out about it, we immediately took steps to remediate. We've already received 2 bids for the work. I did email both of those to Inspector Yates. I emailed him one yesterday, and I emailed one to him this morning that we received. Obviously we'd never not addressed this. This is important. But just to give you some background on the property, this property was destroyed by both Hurricane Irma and Hurricane Matthew. The association was in litigation with the insurance company to receive proceeds to fix it. We just settled with the insurance company a couple months ago, and we received the funds. So we obviously want to fix this. We just had no idea. We didn't even know about this until last week. So we have not intentionally taken any delay here, but we just, we didn't get the proper notice. And then second of all, and this is worth noting, but my client, who's the management company, also happens to be a bulk owner of units at the property. They're planning to partition the property And so the money that they receive from the insurance company will be distributed to all the owners of the units in their pro rata share. So any money that we spend to put the windows back in and to repair the property is going to be taking money away from the owners. I mean, we're happy to do it, but I just wanted to also point that out as another consideration here. But we're asking just for additional time to remediate the situation and to, I don't know why Inspector Yates did not receive my email yesterday, but I'm happy to provide the two estimates that we got for the work to be done, which we received yesterday and today.
Do you have any indication from these contractors as to how much time it's going to take for them to do their work?
So they've said about 6 to 8 weeks. I hope that that's true. Obviously, given the availability of construction workers right now, I'm not sure, but they've said 6 to 8 weeks.
So you're telling me the proper respondent is actually Americano Beach Resort Association?
No, it's Americano Beach Lodge Resort Condominium Association, Inc.
Okay, say that again for me. Americano Beach Lodge
Resort Condominium Association, Inc.
Okay, Counselor, is there anything I need to clean up here before I do whatever it is I'm going to do? Are you satisfied we've got the appropriate respondent?
Yeah, I'm satisfied based on their representation, and I would just ask, and I think they're asking for the same. I don't know if they are requiring us to refile or to stipulate to an amendment to the proper name on the style of the case, and we can proceed from there.
We can stipulate to that. You don't have to refile anything. And I've had my paralegal put me personally on the service list for any notices. So I think we'll be fine from here. We just, are asking for more time to do what we need to do. But we have all intentions of getting this remedied as soon as possible.
All right, so we're going to correct the name. Everybody's appeared by now. Notice issues are moot. And I'm amenable to giving you till January 5, 2022 to come into compliance. Does that sound like a plan?
Thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Magistrate. Thank you.
All right. Now, where are you located?
I'm in Orlando.
Okay, well, you're not that far away then. I was just going to lecture you on speaking to our inspector if you come up short on time. Because, of course, we are going to be dealing with the holidays and what have you. But in any event, all right, so we're going to amend the name to read Americano Beach Lodge Resort Condominium Association Incorporated. And with that, I'm going to order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. With that being done, is there anything else we need to discuss?
No, thank you, Mr. Magistrate.
All right. Good luck to you.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
You too. Bye. Okay, where to now?
52.
52. Global Enterprise Acquisition Group, LLC. Do we have a respondent? There. Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. You might want to get a little closer to your microphone.
Up there.
Okay, well, that's all right. You are here on behalf of Global Enterprise Acquisition Group LLC? If you would,
Holdings.
pardon?
52, I believe, Ogle Holdings.
I'm sorry, Global Enterprise Acquisition Group LLC.
No,
You're not here on behalf of that entity?
no.
Yeah, what's the address?
What case are you here for, sir? What address?
236 North Ridgewood.
That's not the right case. I think he gave me the wrong address. Case 10. That ain't the one he gave me.
Okay, are you here for Hogle Holding LLC?
Correct.
All right, if you would please give us your name and be sworn by our secretary.
Name is Francis Hogle.
Spell your last name?
Hogle.
That was your right answer. You were correct first time.
H-O-G-E-E-L.
Hogle.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Hogle, do you agree these violations existed or occurred as stated
Yes.
in the notice of violation?
That's correct, yes.
All right, I find the respondent in noncompliance. Let's ask our inspector how much time he thinks should reasonably be required for you to come into compliance.
By the next cutoff.
Our inspector is suggesting that you ought to be able to come into compliance by January 5, 2022. What say you to that?
Correct.
All right, if that's the case, then I'm going to order you to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Do you have any questions for us before you leave us?
Yes. I think I'm the cause of being here because I submitted some evidence to Officer Garcia. All that stuff is, I don't know when that picture was taken. That looks
This taken
current.
yesterday.
Okay. I submitted a picture that has the driveway from Seagrave.
Yeah, I didn't put that in, but I took pictures yesterday of all the ones that you sent, that emailed me. There it is,
Yes.
right there. That's,
Okay. If you look at the picture, we don't see the picture.
Can you keep the picture up for him? He's trying to look at the picture while he's speaking.
Okay.
One of the driveways.
You'll notice that we put up those parking things there to try and prevent people from dumping on the lot. What we had done back in 2020, we cleaned up the property, and one of the pieces of evidence is a document saying that we are in compliance, I think January 20th, 2020. What happened after that, because the dumping was incessant, I let it run until somebody complained. That turned out to be earlier this year. I talked to Officer Garcia at the time, and I proposed that we take the palm logs that existed from the trash and line them up along that line so that people would have difficulty coming in. He thought at the time that that might succeed, but he said it depends on higher ups. And he'd call me back if there was a problem with it. Well, I waited a few weeks and there was no call. So we proceeded, and also in the evidence, it's 236 invoices. The we proceeded to fill 4 dumpsters. So in 18 months, we had 4 dumpster loads of dumping. Now, I have maintained this property since my mother died in 2012. We have never seen that until relatively recently, that level of dumping. But nevertheless, everything that's there now is there subsequent to that, I believe, based on what Vince is telling me, that everything there now is subsequent to when we cleaned it up in July of this year. So what we were trying to do is make it difficult for people to dump there. I got a notice later that we were not in compliance because of that stuff. And I guess Vince talked with Officer Garcia and they removed the stuff without consulting me and the logs. And so now we're left with an open entrance and so people can dump it. And I told Vince at the time, I said, this is ridiculous. They want me to invite people to dump here. And so the reason I wanted to come to you is because I asked Officer Garcia to talk to his superior and find out why they've changed their mind or whatever they did. And nobody called. I asked the individual to call me and nobody called. So I told Vince to just stop. We'll end up in front of the magistrate and hopefully we can get this adjudicated somehow so that I know how to proceed. I mean, the lot is virtually clean except for what's there in the last couple of months. And we'd like to discourage this as much as possible. So I've got a couple of proposals and I think that Officer Garcia and Vince met Friday and I think it's going to be cleaned up shortly. What's there is cleaned up shortly. But I want to be able to put down something there. And the thought that I had was to cut down some of these big palm trees that are along the side and lay the logs there across the entrance. And it seemed to me that was a good thing to do because it would make it difficult for people to back a trailer in there. And which is what's happening. So I'd like to see what the magistrate has to say and how we can resolve this.
Okay, well, the inspector's here. Captain Lee is here. And it's really not for me to decide what you can or can't do, but they are certainly more than willing to talk to you about what options you do have available to you. So I'm going to ask these gentlemen to give you a call, and hopefully you will have that conversation.
I would appreciate that very much.
What is your phone number?
It's 410-583-4828. That's my office. I'll give you a second number. It's my cell phone. It's 410-294-8300.
Okay, I have the numbers.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hogle, we have those numbers, and these gentlemen will get back with you.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you. Am I finished here?
Yes, sir, you are.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Secretary, where do I go next?
The only other 2 Zooms are lien reviews.
Are they here?
Lien review 1 and 2.
On Zoom. Yeah, they're here on Zoom.
Okay, let's go to lien review 1. I thought I was getting out of something. All right, lien review 1. Boylston Avenue, Ava Kovac.
Yes, I am here on behalf of Eva Kovacs and Eva Balogun.
And your name?
Alexander Balogun.
You raise your right hand.
Yes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and what are the extenuating circumstances I should be taking into consideration with regard to the lien that we had previously imposed?
First, I want to thank you. It was a very informative session. I've listened in to all your reviews this morning, and they've been very helpful. And I believe you have a very excellent system to help people in adjudicating whatever situations they may have. I am Eva Kovac's son-in-law. She passed away in 2014, and I was the one who did all the estate probate for her through the lawyer, and it was all transferred to my wife, Eva. Eva passed away in 2019 on April 16th. And it was a big blow to all of us because it was unexpected. The first letter I got from the city was the one which I had included in there, and this letter was dated October 30th, 2019. That was the first letter. And of course, in the lien review document, which I have here for your agenda, it states that the first letter was sent January 30th of 2019. It's obvious that we were not getting the mails because you can see the postal services put in incorrect address. And this letter, I got it late in November or early December. And when I got it, I called the city and I was able to talk with Inspector Stephen, who has retired. He brought me up to speed on some of the issues that were there. I said I will look after them right away. And I went on and called our groundsman. His name also is Stephen. And we were able to begin the process of getting some quote. By January, I had talked with a lady at the city office. I think her name is Jennifer. I've forgotten the last name. And she said I needed to get a document notarized. She asked me what we were going to do. I said, I would like to just get the building demolished, even though right now I want to make sure that we meet the code, get the repairs done. Because the groundsman was always keeping our property clean and everything. We didn't know anything about the deterioration. I got estimate for the repair, and the estimate was for about $1,500. And I followed up, and it's all in my evidence. I followed up, and he said he will follow up with me, but this builder or this construction guy never got back to me. Meanwhile, I had sent the notarized document to the City Hall in January, and I think they got it by early February. And when they got it, they communicated back to me and said I couldn't execute it because my name wasn't on the deed. COVID had started. And so the travel restrictions went into place. I said to them, the probate was just completed, COVID has started, I can't travel. and I was able to talk with the permit department. I think permit or someone, and they said since I want to do the demolition, I can go ahead and do it myself. I worked out a project plan with them, and by end of April, I got the demolition done. And after getting the demolition done, my groundsman, Steven, he told me, said, Alex, you need to look into this property. I think there's a $15,000 lien on it. I said, oh, okay. So after I finished that, I talked with the assistant, I think it was Danielle or someone, and she said, yes, there's a lien, and I need to ask for a lien review after I get my demo compliance done. And so I followed up to have this lien review done. I've also included my income, the taxes for 3 or 4 years consecutively, $11,000. I have supplemental income from the government of about $600 a month, which will translate to about $7,200. So this will impose an unusual penalty on me. The deaths have happened. If we knew there would be any deaths, we would have ensured that whatever needed to be done was done. Unfortunately, death is death, and we're saddened when we lost them. Now we are faced with having to deal with this. So I followed up. I paid to get the demo done, and the demo was done to be in compliance. And now I'm asking that this lien, 15,000, which I wasn't aware of. If I was aware of this, I would have come to the magistrate, Your Honor, and put a case before you to say, I need time to get this thing done, and here is what happened. And I was in communication with the different departments. I sent email to them. Immediately, things came to my notice. So in terms of finance, it would be virtually impossible for me to meet that, that penalty amount. And then in terms of fairness, the address was wrong and I never got communication on time. I was always getting communication after the fact. I don't know why, but the address was never put in full. And so the communication always came late.
Okay, give me just a minute if you would.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so in looking at this file, we have a notice of violation going to Ava Kovac. And Ava Kovac had died 5 years earlier. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your wife, I guess, inherited this property?
Yes, Your Honor.
And she passed away in 2019?
Yes, April.
April of 2019. My condolences, by the way.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And when did you finally learn that you had this problem going on down here?
It will have been November of 2019. You can see the registered letter was included as, I put it in as an exhibit. And it's, so that will have been my exhibit. I have a list at the bottom. It will have been exhibit C 1, which is item 9 in page 3, which is a wrong address. So I got this letter. It would have been November of 2019 when I got this letter.
All right, and when was the property brought into compliance?
I brought it into compliance in April of this year. I got the demo done April of this year.
April of 21.
Yes, Your Honor. I was in contact with the department responsible. Immediately I got I was told that I needed to demolish. I said, okay, I will go ahead and do that. And they asked me for a plan. I gave them a written plan and they accepted it. I think it was Miss Kimberly. She accepted the written plan.
Okay,
And
okay, was the property left to your wife?
yes,
And then once your wife passed away, who was the property left to?
to me.
And when was the property deeded to you by the probate court?
March 27th of 2020.
Okay. Okay. All right, what say the city?
Mark Jones, Neighborhood Services. My credentials are on file. This case opened back in January of 2019 for broken windows, damaged ceiling, damaged roof, damaged fascia, porch deck, and interior ceilings. As you can see by the photos, this is a condition of the building back in January of 2019. The case was before the special magistrate, as mentioned, on November 19th, 2019, and found in noncompliance, and a fine was issued on January 14th, 2020. Not until March 29th, 2021, was a demo permit applied for, and the demo was finalized by the permit department on May 3rd, 2021. This property was in disrepair and abandoned for over 29 months before it was. It had many police calls to remove vagrants from the property and was an eyesore for the neighborhood during this time. Staff is requesting no reduction in fine.
How do you find a dead lady?
Excuse me.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to be coy. The respondent is Ava Kovac. From what I'm hearing, Ava Kovac passed away in 2014.
Okay.
And I don't hear anybody disputing that.
No.
But there are, if I may, Ms. Verkelger, in fact, and I'm not doing this as a strong advocate but I will say that the ownership or the responsibility for the property would still, upon the death of one person, would flow to the next person who has that responsibility. I think he had a will, and there were people who had personal representatives and people who would have responsibility to either preserve, restore, or manage the assets. And this was an asset that was at least horrible in this city in its condition. I realized that this gentleman had a circumstance that arose that made it even a greater challenge until the property ultimately became his. But even during the probate period, again, this was a period when notification was made and we were seeking to get some type of remedy here, just to get the property to no longer be in a
I'm not
condition it's in.
faulting the city's efforts. I'm just wondering, you find Ava Kovac, and Ava Kovac was deceased.
Yeah, we typically, well, at the time, we filed it, but we filed it based upon what was probably in the property tax roll, which is
Again, I'm
pursuant
not
to Chapter
faulting the
162.
city. I'm not saying the city did anything wrong, is what it is.
Because actually, we're really citing the property more than we're citing the individual, the circumstance of a property.
And then
that
I'm
was
supposed
out
to
of
take
compliance.
into consideration any extenuating circumstances, and this gentleman's just talked about them at length.
And I don't disagree that he has expressed circumstances, and I think we responded to that at the best of what we are.
Did you demolish the property?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
And you paid to demolish the property?
I did. I paid to Sam Solar Demolition.
Okay. All right, I'm vacating the lien and I'm waiving the fine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, did you hear what I said?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so the order imposing, well, anyway, I'm vacating the lien and I'm vacating the fine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, have a good day.
Merry Christmas to you.
You too. Lien Review 2, South Peninsula Drive Parcel, CTN Peninsula Incorporated. Yes, sir. If you would please state your name and be sworn.
I missed the beginning. I'm not sure if it's my case, but Tom Carter, CTM Peninsula, Inc., Lien Review.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
And who is CTN Peninsula Incorporated?
That's the owner of the subject property on Peninsula Drive.
And who are you?
I'm the manager.
And I'm sorry, your last name again?
Carter, Carter.
Okay, Mr. Carter, what would you have me take into consideration in your request that this lien be vacated or modified?
I'm not sure if you've had an opportunity to review the email exchanges, but I did want to communicate that we were working diligently with the code enforcement officer to correct these issues. Unfortunately, there was some, I guess, miscommunication. The notice of the violation was, or the notice of a hearing where the fine was imposed was mailed to a property in Florida. Because of the pandemic, the owner of that property and the owner of Peninsula property wasn't traveling. We didn't get that notice. This was compounded with the code enforcement officer being on sick leave for a couple of months. So I didn't actually get any indication that we had any fines running until I contacted Mr. Bostwick later in the summer. He notified me that there was this fine. He wasn't aware of it. He then asked me to speak with Kim, which I did, and then I finally got up to speed in late June. But we were making an effort throughout to remediate all the issues. We had some illegal dumping on 2 different occasions, which we also had to work on. And I think there was some additional work we weren't aware of originally, which is the tree trimming. So I had to bring in a second contractor with some heavy-duty equipment to take care of that. But I think, if Mr. Bostwick is available, I think he can attest to the fact that we were diligent in trying to take care of all the issues which he raised.
Okay, let's hear from the city. Mr. Bostwick?
All right, Inspector Bostwick from the City of Daytona Beach. This case was opened back on January the 29th, and I did have a lot of communication with Mr. Carter up until April 28th. At that time, I did go out on medical leave. And when I came back to work, I believe I got a email from him or a phone call, and that's when I did let him know that his case was already before the board and he had a fine going on. We have plenty of communications, over 23 emails. I also had to inform Mr. Carter that the first person that he hired to clean up the property was using a weed whacker to cut the property. And I told him that that was not going to work. I told him he needed to hire someone with some heavy equipment to get the job completed. And that's when he was able to hire someone, and that's when the job got completed on September 28th.
The job got completed when?
On September the 28th. The case was opened back on January 19th. I made many visits to the property because he kept calling to say that the person he hired with the weed whacker was saying that the property was in compliance. I went out there and I'm like, no, this property is not going to be in compliance with one guy with a weed whacker trying to do all of this.
I would just make the comments regarding the space of time from the notification in January to when I first contacted Mr. Bostwick. And again, this was the issue of having documents that, because we're based in Canada, we didn't access any of those documents. So I wasn't made aware of any issue on the property until April. And as soon as I did receive a copy of that original notice, that's when I immediately contacted Mr. Bostwick. So it wasn't that we were ignoring a code violation between January and April. We simply weren't aware of it at that time.
Yeah, I did speak with Mr. Carter on the 28th.
28th of April.
Yes, sir.
And that was, I did call him immediately that I received that notification and became aware for the first time that we had an issue. So I didn't want to leave you with the impression that we were simply ignoring something which had to be addressed. And as soon as we were made aware of it, we definitely jumped on it straight away. And I think obviously because I'm not physically in Florida, I was relying on our contractor to tell me when work was done. Mark was very, very good in taking photographs and showing us what needed to be done. So I think obviously, there was a lot of back and forth, as you mentioned, because I was trying to get into compliance. And eventually, I did have to change contractors and bring someone else in. And particularly when later in the summer, we had the additional work to do on the trees, which required some different equipment. So,
what do you mean additional work on the trees?
Yes, I wasn't aware that we needed to trim back all of the trees originally, and that may have been what was originally intended, but I think Mark obviously let me know on a subsequent inspection that was something extra. And for sure, the people that we originally hired to do the landscaping, all the surface level work, they couldn't handle that additional work on the trees. So I did have to bring someone in to cut back all the canopy.
So I'd like to understand that you went out there and inspected the property and found it to be in non-compliance at one point?
On many occasions. And if you look at the pictures from back in January, you can see that the property was not that overgrown at that point. That's a later date. But because, so much time went by, the property grew way out of hand.
Okay. And at some point, did you need to enlighten the respondent that this notice of violation included trimming trees as well?
That was all. That was in the original notice of violation, that he had to raise the canopy on all the trees in the property.
Okay, so you talking about a notice different than the notice of violation?
No, I don't believe so.
Notice of violation says vacant lot, overgrown landscaping.
Yes.
Overgrown landscaping, trees, bushes, and debris on a vacant lot.
Pardon?
overgrown landscaping, trees and bushes and debris on the vacant lot.
You're looking at you're speaking about two different notices. I believe you're looking at the notice of violation, the formal notice of violation. He's referring to the first notice, which is the notice they first send that has a remedy and information in it for correction.
And what did I hear you say was the first document you came across that indicated that you had a situation here?
I became aware on April 21, but I'm not sure which notice it was. I don't know how many notices were sent out. And obviously, we never received any notices regarding the hearing or the imposition of fines. So I don't recall seeing anything specifically on the trees until later in the summer when Mark advised that we needed to cut back all the canopy as well. But I think my impression initially was it was general landscaping and that we had some illegal dumping on the site, which we also needed to clear up. So,
Was the first notification to the respondent on sometime in April of 21?
that's when I received it, sir. But I think the
First notification was on January 30th. Compliance was due by March 6th.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the notice of violation that I received. It only says vacant lot, overgrown landscaping. That was the description of the violation. And that was, that was sworn and subscribed to, that was April 21.
I can probably pull up whatever it is anybody needs. I just am unclear about what the question is.
I guess when you're saying notice of violation, you're talking about the document that accompanied the notice of hearing, presumably, which appears not to be the same as your CB1, which would have provided a remedy. So is there that document that would have shown both the notification of the violation with a requested remedy?
Yes, I was making a distinction, the violation or the notice of violation that Mr. Vikelja was looking at, because I could see it from here, was the notice of violation that is sent with the notice of hearing, which is a formal notice that's sent secondary. The first notice that's sent, that in this case was sent back in January, would have both the violations listed and a remedy, yes.
And you have that form?
I can try to find that for you right now.
Doesn't matter. I'm done. All right, I'm waiving the fine and vacating the lien.
All right, sir. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now do we start our agenda all over again, so to speak? I think we go to case number 7, Damian W. Williams and Willie Holland.
All right. This case was opened April 30th, 2021, and was a citizen's complaint. The notice of violation was issued for no permit for windows, no permit for pool renovation, damaged exterior fixtures, peeling paint, unprotected surfaces, damaged soffit and rustic garage door. They were first noticed June 29th, 2021, and compliance was due August 10th, 2021. We've had no contact with the owner. We'd like to ask for a finding of noncompliance with compliance due by the next cutoff.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I find the respondent to be in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 11, ASTK LLC.
Inspector Garcia, credentials on file with the city. This case was opened on June 6, 2021 as a field-generated case for an overgrown vacant lot, unsanitary condition, trash and debris. Notice was signed for on June 22, 2021. Compliance deadline was July 5, 2021. The last day I re-inspected it was on October 4, 2021. Resulting in my re-inspection finding it in non-compliance. I have not had any contact with the owner. Staff requests a finding of non-compliance, compliance by the January 5th cutoff.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I find the respondent to be in non-compliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 13, ACAM Investments, LLC.
13. This case was opened on February 26, 2021 as a citizen complaint for overgrown grass and weeds, trash and debris. Notice was claimed on March 8, 2021. Compliance deadline was on March 22, 2021. I re-inspected the property. Re-inspection was done on April 21, 2021 and found in compliance. On September 30, 2021, the property was found in violation again, and the case was reopened. I re-inspected on October 21, 2021 and found it in compliance. My last re-inspection was on the property was done on November 5, 2021. Result of my re-inspection found in compliance. I have had contact with the owner, and staff's recommending an order of non-compliance in order.
With a will fine?
The will fine, yes, sir.
Can I do that at this point?
Yes.
Okay. Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I find the respondent in non-compliance. I further find that the respondent has since come into compliance. Nevertheless, for every future violation, the respondent will be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $5,000 for each repeated violation. Case number 14, Daytona Housing Authority.
This case was opened on April 26, 2021 as a field-generated case for overgrown vacant lot. Notice was claimed on April 30, 2021. The compliance deadline was May 14, 2021. The last day I re-inspected it was on November 5, 2021. Result in my re-inspection finding in compliance. I have had contact with the owner. Staff requesting an order of non-compliance compliance.
Noting the absence of the respondent and having considered the testimony of our inspector, I find the respondent in non-compliance. I further find that the respondent since came into compliance. Nevertheless, for every future violation, the respondent will be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $5,000 for each repeated violation. Case number 16, Host Dime Com Incorporated.
This case was opened on April 29, 2021 as a police complaint for an overgrown vacant lot and a damaged fence. Notice was unclaimed and posted on July 22, 2021. The compliance deadline was on August 3, 2021. The last day I re-inspected it was on November 2, 2021. The result of my re-inspection was finding it in non-compliance. I have had no contact with the owner. Staff requests a finding of a fine of non-compliance compliance by the January cutoff.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I find the respondent to be in non-compliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 19, Pham Mai Heen Thai. Pardon?
Case number 19, correct?
Case number 19.
In compliance.
In compliance.
As of yesterday.
Very good.
236 Seabreeze.
236 series is in compliance. Okay.
Case number 21, Area International Realty, LLC.
Inspector Jean-Baptiste, this was a tenant complaint that was generated. Violations are damaged electrical outlet, plumbing leaks, dirt and grime, damaged uneven ceiling, rust, peeling tiles, damaged windows, unlicensed and derelict vehicle on site. This is an apartment complex. Three of the four tenants made this complaint. I had to inspect each one of their units. A notice of violation was generated and sent certified mail, and the property was posted on July 29th, 2021, with a compliance date of August 31st, 2021. Upon a site reinspection on September 15th, facility is not in compliance. I've met with the owner and the tenants. They are working together to have everything done, but they're not quite there yet. So at this time, staff is requesting a finding of noncompliance and compliance by the next cutoff.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I find the respondent to be in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. GEA Seaside Investment Incorporated.
This was a field-generated complaint which started on June 11th, 2021. Violation as follow: damaged retaining wall, peeling and discolored paint, exterior storage, trash and debris, discolored fascia, dirt and grime, damaged gate, damaged concrete, landscaping, boarded window. Notice of violation was sent certified mail twice. It went unclaimed. As such, the property was posted in City Hall on July 27, 2021, with a compliance date of August 27, 2021. Site reinspection as of Saturday, the 6th. Work is being done, but it's not completed. At this time, staff is requesting a finding of noncompliance, compliance by the next cutoff.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I find the respondent to be in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 24, Irish Dakota LLC.
This was
The respondent, what say the city?
This was a police referral, which generated inspection on June 14th, 2021. Violation as follow: graffiti, discolored and peeling paint, damaged walls, dirt and grime. A notice of violation was sent certified mail, and it was signed for the first notice on June 18th, 2021. Upon a site reinspection, facility is not in compliance. As you can see, as of Saturday the 6th, I spoke to the owner. He's efforting to get a contractor to paint. So at this time, the city wished to find a finding of noncompliance and compliance by the next cutoff.
So 550 Seabreeze is that entire building?
It's that particular end unit. Actually, yes, it's the entire building, sorry.
Okay, so the entire building is going to have to be painted?
Yes, he says he's in the works of getting someone to do that.
Okay. Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I find the respondent to be in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. I believe we now go to case 31, Trust Line Trucking LLC.
This is a field-generated inspection on April 14th, 2021. Violations are as follow: damaged fence, trash and debris, exterior storage, damaged fascia board, cracked and damaged concrete, damaged windows, damaged doors, damaged wooden gate, dirt and grime, unmaintained landscaping. Notice of violation was generated and sent certified mail. Twice it went unclaimed. There was a new owner. As such, the property, having gone through all of that, the property was posted on August 20th, 2021, as well as City Hall, with a compliance date of September 10th, 2021. Upon a reinspection as back in October 1st, and also this past weekend on November 6th, facility is not in compliance. As such, staff is requesting a finding of noncompliance, compliance by the next cutoff.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I find the respondent to be in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case 33, GEA Seaside Investment Incorporated.
Since last hearing, I've had no contact with the owners of this facility and no call for reinspection. I did drive by, I did see that the grass was cut, however, there are the debris that's out on the outside there. As such, staff is requesting a fine of $100 a day to be capped at 15.
Based upon our inspector's testimony, I'm fining the respondent the sum of $100 per day, commencing November 4, 2021, and continuing each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. Case number 34, GEA Seaside Investment Incorporated.
Since last hearing, I've had no calls or any contact with the owners for reinspection. No progress observed. It appears there might be a new owner, a new tenant. I'm not sure. Staff is requesting a fine of $100 a day to be capped at $1,500.
15,000.
$15,000. Sorry, you got it.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I'm fining the respondent the sum of $100 per day, commencing November 4, 2021, and continuing to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. Case number 36, Lone Thievu.
Since last hearing, I've had contact with the owner. Basically, everything is done except for the window. As mentioned for last hearing, he's trying to get the windows in. And as such, we wish to amend till the next hearing to complete that. It's that window right there.
It's not set, so there's no,
So as such, we wish to set the compliance date for next hearing.
To the next compliance date?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I will amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 5, 2022 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 38, Tambra N. Davis Management Trust.
Morning, Inspector Bostwick, City of Daytona Beach. Staff requests finding a non-compliance with compliance due next cutoff.
Noting the absence of the respondent based upon our inspector's testimony, I'm going to order the respondent to be in compliance by January 5, 2022, or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 39, Jerry B. King.
All right, since the last hearing, no progress was made, no contact with the owner. Staff requests a fine of $100 a day, capped at $20,000.
At $20,000?
Yes.
Business?
Excuse me?
It's commercial?
Residential.
15 is the max.
All right, 15 then.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I'm fining the respondent the sum of $100 per day, commencing November 4, 2021, and continuing to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. Case 41, Walmart Stores East LP.
Good afternoon, Inspector Stinson. My qualifications are on file. Since the last hearing, I have been in email contact and phone contact with the landscaper of this property. As of yesterday, the landscaping issue has been resolved and the graffiti has been resolved. However, the accessory wall behind the property is still in noncompliance. I'd like to amend this because I have a meeting set up.
You would like to amend to what?
I'd like to amend this to the next cutoff.
All right. Noting the absence of the respondent, after having considered the testimony of our inspector, I will amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent till January 5, 2022 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. I believe that brings us to case 48, Equity Trust Company Custodian for the benefit of Mark Wanmacher, IRA.
Since the last hearing, I've had no additional contact and no additional progress has been made. I'd like to ask for a fine of $100 a day to a maximum of $15,000.
Noting the absence of the respondent, after having heard the testimony of our inspector, I am fining the respondent the sum of $100 per day commencing November 4, 2021, which will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. Case number 52, Global Enterprise Acquisition Group, LLC.
Just to clarify, we don't have anybody on Zoom for this case? Okay, we had it listed here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're here today for consideration of a fine. Since last month's hearing, I have had contact with the owners. They are progressing. You'll see some of the photographs in a minute. The framing on the roof has now been completed, and they're working on the building, and they have their permits issued. I'm going to amend to the next cutoff.
Okay. Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 5, 2022 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 60, Jeffrey Todd Newfield and Julie Baker. Thought we were done with this at the last meeting.
Yes, sir. Since the last meeting, I have had contact with the owner. The progress is that the windows are going to be coming in the middle of January, and we're recommending to amend to the next cutoff.
Windows are coming in into the middle of, okay.
Yeah, this is the one that had 16 weeks with the windows. She paid $40,000, and she's got a permit active too.
Okay. All right. Based upon our inspector's testimony, I'll amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 5, 2022 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. Case number 61, Panora Properties, LLC.
Inspector Garcia, credentials on file with the city. Since the last hearing, I have had contact with the owner. Little progress has been made, and a permit has been issued on November 3rd, 2021. Staff's requesting an amend to the January cutoff.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I'm going to amend our current order of noncompliance to allow the respondent until January 5, 2022 to come into compliance or be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day thereafter. George R. Alvis.
Since the last hearing, I have had contact with the owner once yesterday, and there has been no progress. Staff's requesting a fine of $250 a day, capped at $15,000.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I'm fining the respondent the sum of $250 per day commencing November 4, 2021, and continuing to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. Case number 63, Trustee, LLC, CR 330, whatever.
Since the last hearing, I have had no contact, and there has been no progress. Staff's requesting a fine of $250 a day, capped at $15,000.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I'm fining the respondent the sum of $250 per day commencing November 4, 2021, and continuing to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. Case number 64, Ramon and Cassandra Culver.
Since the last hearing, I've had no contact with the owner, and there has been no progress. Staff's requesting a fine of $250 a day, capped at $15,000.
Capped at 15.
15, correct.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I find the respondent the sum of $250 per day commencing November 4, 2021, which will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance, or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. Case 65, Rosalie Norman H.
Since the last hearing, I have had contact with the owner, and the lot has been cut. Property is in compliance as of yesterday, and we're just asking an order of non-compliance compliance.
Well, fine.
Well, fine.
You don't need that.
No? Oh, correct.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I find that the respondent has since come into compliance, but for every future violation, the respondent will be returned to the special magistrate for consideration of a fine of up to $5,000 for each repeated violation. Case number 66, Norman H. Riley Estate.
Going to be the same owner. Since the last hearing, I've had contact with the owner, and the property is now in compliance. Has been cut since yesterday.
All right, then I find the respondent to be in, so he's in compliance?
Yes.
All right. Case number 68, Janine M. Brown. Not seeing a respondent, what say the inspector?
I'm sorry, what case was this?
68, Janine M. Brown.
Since, yes, we did. That was delayed. That's why I asked. Since the last hearing, I have had no contact with the owner, and there has been no progress. Staff requesting a fine of $250 a day, capped at $15,000.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon our inspector's testimony, I find the respondent the sum of $250 per day commencing November 4, 2021. That fine will continue to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. Case 69, Noble Gethers. Not seeing a respondent, what say the city?
Since the last hearing, I have had no contact with the owner. There has been no progress. Staff's requesting a fine of $250 a day, capped at $15,000.
Noting the absence of the respondent, based upon the testimony of our inspector, I'm finding the respondent the sum of $250 per day commencing November 4, 2021, and continuing to accrue each day thereafter until the property is in compliance or the amount of the fine has reached the sum of $15,000. I believe that concludes our regular agenda. I believe we've already dealt with all the lien reviews. Have we covered everything on the agenda?
We have.
Do we have any special matters to be brought to the attention of the special magistrate? We're adjourned.